Hello, gamers. That's my best Rubik impression. This is WT for Gamers Galaxy. We're going to take a look back into 2023 with Immutable X. So this is kind of episode 23, but like crypto, we're going to bridge it over like a crypto bridge into season 2, episode 1. Rubik, how you doing, brother?
Very good, mate. Very good. I am at the physio right now, according to my calendar at work. So if any of my bosses are listening, I really have a sore shoulder. I mean, that's what I'm doing right now.
I believe it. I'm looking at it right now. It looks very sore. You need to be at you said physio? Is that what you called it?
Yeah, physio.
Oh, okay.
Physiotherapist.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So we have Wandering Gale with us. He's in my bottom right-hand corner, and we also have a guest watching us, listening in at our little Gamer Galaxies Discord. That's kind of cool. We're gonna take a look back at 2023, the crazy year for Immutable X, all the announcements, and we're gonna go month by month and just kind of summarize what happened. And what's going on, Wandering Gale? How you doing?
What's happening, guys? Happy to be here. Bit sick, bit under the weather, but I'll power through.
Bit of, person at physio, bung shoulders, COVID probably, or maybe man flu. What are you feeling good, WT, health-wise?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. I'm going to send you guys my recipe on how to stay as immune as possible, and when you get sick, how to get back on your feet as fast as possible after this. So, yeah, we'll get this rolling as we got a lot to get through, and we have a history of being long, so we got to chop, get to it. We'll jump right into January of 2023. 5 games that were announced by Immutable. I had to scratch my head because there's been so many games that have come out. I'm starting to get lost in all the games, and I couldn't remember some of these, so I had to go back and look. We had Resurgence, Aradina Warrior, Titan Colony, Star Heroes, and the one that we just recently interviewed, One Tap by Corby World. That's what came out in January for games. We also learned that... did you want to comment on anything about those, Rubik?
Yeah, there's a couple of those games like Tiny Colony's gone under financially. Star Heroes are the makers of Star Heroes made GameSwift. They were announced on 10 different chains, and then I think they're going to be directly on their own chain, GameSwift, obviously. So doing that typical announce chain for the the numbers. They did do a mint somewhere, I believe, but they're no longer building on Immutable, I don't think. And Aradina Warrior is also kind of railed back its development, and so we're going to see a lot of this throughout the episode. A number of announcements where games failed, but when you got 250 or 300, 6 or 7 games that didn't end up building isn't a big deal, but it might look bad. Just want to warn people that there are some that have gone under, didn't survive 2023.
Yeah, I've already mentally prepared myself for seeing games go by the wayside. The strategy of Immutable is to get as many shots as possible to hit that premier game, to get their foot in the door into the masses. So I'm okay with it. I expect it, and I'm dialed in for it. The one game I did remember, Aradina Warrior, I had high hopes in that game. I was involved with it somewhat. I had some assets, and they just ran out of money. They flat out ran out of money. I don't know if they just didn't manage it well or what. They are trying to get new money. They literally went to their community and was very, very transparent about what had happened. And I believe they got some fundraising going. I haven't checked back in a while. I'll have to check again, see. But they're not dead, but they ran into some issues. So it's going to happen.
They only need 300k. They could do a mint, just promise the world and do a mint and make 500 easy. So I'm not sure why they went the route they did, but they did. I think because they're honest. They don't want to dilute any more value that they've made from their community. They're trying to get people who believe in them to invest. So yeah. Anyway, let's see what happens with them in the end.
Yeah. One of the big announcements in January of 2023, we learned that the funded games in 2022 between Polygon and Immutable, they split roughly 35% apiece for a total combined between the two of them, 70% of the market share of games. That was some very big numbers. Any thoughts on that, Rubik?
The 70% of games isn't the total number of games. It's the total number of VC funding that went to games. 70% of the funding was building on the
Correct.
games that were funded were building on Immutable. Just make that clear. Some people in Twitter recently have thought that might be a bit of a, you know, a scam comment, a Trevor Milton comment, if you remember. But yeah, these random people don't seem to understand, the language of English and how it works.
Yeah, well, that's kind of. I can see why they're saying that, but at the same time, if you don't have VC funding, you don't have a game. So by having the VC funding, you kind of technically have the game, so to speak. So yeah, I think it's just trying to get a play on words just to take some shots at a competitor. But that's just my thoughts. Also, they had the GameStop marketplace went live. I have some mixed feelings on that. I'm sure wondering, Gail could probably fill us in on this, but I'm like, what happened here? Like, there was a huge announcement, all this like hoopla about it, and then like I really haven't heard much since, besides Rubik saying he thought some big things were coming.
It's been very quiet. No, it's sort of been like zero talking done about it at all. Like, I have mixed feelings about it too. We'll see how it goes. I'm thinking whenever player comes, that it'll bring more volume to the marketplace, hopefully, in that sort of a sense. But yeah, well, people are just sort of waiting for on the GameStop marketplace side of things, waiting to see what happens. Because the GameStop NFT Twitter account, they haven't posted anything in months. So
Right.
it's that's one of my disappointing things, but we'll
Save
see
that.
how it goes.
Yeah. Rubik, anything?
I think GameStop, when they announced Immutable, it was exciting, but then when they went Loop Ring as well, because of the on-chain capability, the more flexibility to write contracts, it really, the community they built, the GameStop community built into Loop Ring, more than from an Immutable perspective, it wasn't as big a windfall as it could have been. But if it was ZK EVM, what was announced, they wouldn't have needed to go with Loop Ring as well. They would have just chose one or the other. I think they chose GameStop Immutable because of they got $36 million in tokens they dumped instantly, and then they went with Loop Ring, and because of the contract capability. And so that's kind of, from me, who's more Immutable focused, it was, where the biggest disappointment was with that. And now that they're in a bit of a silent mode, they've, obviously they've got to, their decisions are their decisions, what they decide is where they're going to make money is where they're going to make money, and they don't think it's going to be in their marketplace. So
Immutable doesn't think there's going to be money made there in the GME?
No. GameStop doesn't think there's money to be made there, obviously, because they're not investing in it. So.
Well, I'm hoping, I can't, this is just me hoping, but I'm hoping GameStop is appreciative of the tokens that they got. They dumped them. It caused a little bit of controversy for Immutable. So hopefully they don't forget and they pay Immutable back in some way or form down the road with something. That's my hope, that those favors pay off later down the road. But
well, can I give a bit of a speculation on it?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, like, the foundation's built for it. Like, they've laid off a lot of workers. So is OpenSea and all those other places that do marketplaces. So they're working on player now. I'm thinking that maybe the marketplace is just sitting there waiting for the player to be announced to open up, and then when people are buying the NFTs that are for the games that are on player, would that be hooked up with the GameStop marketplace in a sense? That's where my lines of thinking is. But you also could be right, and they might be giving up on it. Who knows?
Tough to say.
Yeah.
Also in January, this one was a little controversial as well. Guild of Guardians Esports Heroes was announced. They failed to sell out, and they didn't just fail to sell out. They failed to sell out by quite a bit. I think they were aiming for 10,000-ish NFTs to be sold, and I want to say like 1,700-ish sold, maybe 2,000. They fell short of the mark by quite a bit, and kind of ruffled up the community in the meantime. But that spawned some new things of new directions for GOG. Rubik, you know a little bit about this. You have any comments to add to that?
Yeah, it was It was obvious what was going to happen. The community was telling a certain individual that they're doing it wrong. Like in droves and droves of people were saying the same thing over and over again. And the belligerence and I know better attitude of that person went through without any compromise before the mint. And then it did exactly what everyone thought was going to happen. It was supposed to be this massive, big esports first kind of thing, like 8 different esports, and these are massive esports organizations, not the tier 2s, like proper tier AAA, tier 1, the best esports orgs in the world, in Team Liquid, NRG, all the big names you've ever heard of, Navi. These are huge, and it should have sold out easy if they just went and marketed it with a more. I think you just thought, this is going to sell out because of the esports next to it, but. There was so much negativity going into it. That's just everyone was scared to buy it because they just saw how much the negativity was coming.
Yeah,
completely balls that up.
Totally agree. It was a train wreck that everyone's seen coming. I will give them a little bit of reprieve. They set this up back in, I want to say, late 2021 or 22. And so they were contractually obligated to go through with it. I believe they held off for as long as they could, but they had to go through with it. My ultimate problem was they knew it was coming. They did not brace the community for it at all. And they just rammed it through and said, we're doing this, and sorry. And there was no bracing it for impact, and that was my problem with it. So I give them a little leeway because they set up the contract. They don't have a crystal ball. They don't know what's going to happen. But once they knew the sentiment, they should have done some things to soften the blow, and they didn't. And we called it right. Well, they didn't show up.
Oh, they offered the free one if you buy one sort of thing, to try and appease it. That actually made things worse. Yeah. It just made everyone that spent the money early up meant that it was only worth half as much as that. And that's
like taking a Dixie cup of water and throwing it at a giant stage 5 fire. Sorry.
All they needed to do is make a whitelist cheaper price for holders of NFTs right now and say, if you hold both, you will get double staking rewards in the staking file. Right. That's it. You're not diluting it. They just went, no, these are better than ones that people spent tens of thousands of dollars on before it, and you're going to get all this special stuff. And everyone just thought they were diluted, and it was. So, and the attitude was, we don't care. We're going to sell that anyway because esports are great. And it failed miserably, and that person paid the price. No longer immutable.
As they say, out of the ashes, things are reborn, and I think we're going on the right path of GOG. So while it was painful, we're moving in the right direction now. So to wrap up January, Illuvium Zero was launched. I don't know a ton about this launch with Illuvium Zero, but I know the popularity and the scale of the game Illuvium, the player base, the NFTs involved, and actually how pretty nice the game is because I did get to play it. You got any information on this Illuvium Zero that was launched back in January?
Oh, I didn't play it. Sorry. Just spoiler alert, I don't play every single game that comes out of Immutable. There's too many. So,
absolutely.
It's just a big one. It was like the land sale being, if you got land, you can use it, which is utility for the landholders and maintain the value. I think the cheapest land is $600, mate. So there's 20,000 of them. But no game is.
I saw one was listed for like $1,700. I was like, Jesus.
Right.
The tiers. There's ones that are just 10, I think, or 5 or something, and they're worth like $100,000. Anyway, moving on to February. Bit of a smaller month, and actually the 4 games that were announced are kind of bombs. Chain Monsters died. Titans of War saying they're still building, but they've been radio silence. Third party might be building their game. They had a playable demo, they had a free mint, and then they just went, fell victim to the what's it called, the bear market we had. Right. And Kingdomverse is still building. They're a multi-chain. They announced Oasis and Immutable on top of B&B, and that was February, and I haven't heard a thing since. So, not sure if they're building on Immutable still. It's been 11 months since they've announced that. But the big one. Does anyone have any comments on those games or?
Titans of War looked very appealing to me. I can't remember the rest of the game, so I'm just listening to you trying to catch up. To be honest, with Titans of War caught my eye, and it's just more attrition in the ongoing games and then the whole entire Web3 verse.
Yeah, so
I haven't.
Sorry, go.
Yeah, I haven't been able to look at them either, but I did Titans of War as well. I think that one's the one that stood out to me the most as well. But there's been so many games, it's hard to keep up, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, Rooniverse was another. It's a big studio with hundreds of devs that build Web 2 games, and they sunsetted their this Rooniverse for through the bear, and have recently come out and said, like Aradania Warrior, we're looking for funding, crowdfunding, but they had a really cool 2-minute trailer for what they're building. So did have people building that is sunset all the marketing stuff. They had the best people doing Twitter. That was so cool. They were the funniest guys on Twitter. They were kind of like Coop from AVAX, that kind of style.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've come back and said they're building again, but yeah, their trailer looks awesome. Their game is like a little world. There's all these plans to build stuff and battle royale, and so you'll be interested to see if it does come through and continue to get built. But if it does, it looks like what they've said they're building. It looks pretty cool game. And they're actually, they found out that they're actually not just signed up to build on Immutable. They're partners with Immutable, like financially. So they've taken an actual investment from Immutable. So they're definitely on Immutable if they continue to build.
Nice.
Passport, the big one of the year. This is the biggest piece of news to me. This is the biggest problem in gaming on blockchain is the sheer friction involved. And the announcement of Passport on the 1st of Feb was huge. What did you think about it, WT?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of, I don't want to call it the crown jewel. I want to say it's one of the 3 to 4 crown jewels in their product suite. And yeah, we obviously need less friction to onboard the masses. It works. I've tried it. You've tried it. It's very quick. It's very sleek. And we're hearing rumblings about things coming along with it down the road that really pique my interest. There's no for sure written language of what that is, but we've talked about it on our other shows about profiles that can be used to verify if people are real or not, or if they're bots or not, and possibly some other interoperability throughout the IMX ecosystem through that passport. So those kind of things really excite me, and it's a huge piece to the puzzle of Immutable.
Yeah, what people think, there's other non-custodial wallets, which means that the user is in control of their funds, and it's not like a SEX where you buy it and the actual not your keys, not your crypto, you own the keys. That's what non-custodial means. Custodial means that the actual center, the organization holds your stuff for you. And so that wasn't just the big deal about it. It was the fact that it was integrated with everything. So one password, one login for marketplaces, all tools building on Immutable. You log in, and since it's gone live, and throughout the year, we've heard more and more things about it. Which we'll be here all day talking about Passport, so we'll move on quickly. But ultimately, the gas free is tied to it now. The interconnectedness of it, the Steam-like player profile and achievements is coming on it, and you can see right now you can connect wallets to it. So there's read-only wallets. You can have stuff stored in your secure cold wallet and attach it to your passport, so it's safe. Someone hacks your passport, they can't get a hold of that, and it's just so if you need that NFT to play in a game and it's only needed for read-only, you can hold it in your cold wallet. So there's so many cool features coming with it. It's exciting. Since WAGMI's gone live with it, it solves so many problems for them. Even though they had a social login before, it was a nightmare for them. And now with Passport, it's solved everything. Their marketplace has gone from $100,000 in sales for 1,500 beta testers to 600,000 in a week, and they've just got 1,500 beta testers. So it's gonna be huge for Immutable 2024. We'll talk about predictions in the future.
Nice.
Moving on. Official Unity partnership with it. So Unity SDK, which means that inside a Unity game, there'll be tools built from Immutable that games can just latch onto to do certain wallet actions, to do certain blockchain interactions within Unity. So gamers what normally have to go out of the game to do transactions and do certain things will be able to be done in game, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you nailed
that
one.
guys?
No, I agree with that.
Okay.
You nailed that one. That was good stuff, man. You're on your game tonight.
Layer swap went live. That's it takes 48 hours to get you to bridge to layer 1 through Immutable's bridge. Layer swap, you can send it to other sexes directly, bypassing layer 1 and gas fees, or you can send it to layer 1. There's like 30 different transactions you can do, and it's cheap as gas free for most of it. So it's instantaneously. So that was a really big change for Immutable.
Yeah, huge feature. I tried it when I was first able to. It worked, and I was like, sweet, this is gonna solve a lot of things. And then like, I'm not moving a lot on or off of Immutable. Occasionally, I'll throw some on there if I want to make some extra moves, but I'm kind of staying in the ecosystem, so I haven't had to use it that much. Have you used it anytime recently?
No, I didn't use it. I only put onto Immutable.
Right.
So, it's got KYC on it, so
right.
Don't bother. So moving on, that's not a DEX though. Before we move on, it's still not a DEX. It's not we can't swap GOG to guided chain tokens, which everyone asks for all the time. So
right.
We're still missing that, which is coming with zkEVM in the future. But moving on, another big one was, which I think is the failed sale of the esports, is when there was big changes brought in from the big, I'd say, Robbie level. And they brought in Chris Clay to do some research, review, and make a decision. So they got rid of Stepico, brought on MindLoader, and changed the game direction. And I'll let you speak about it a bit more, JWT, because you're a massive GOG. You're the GOG expert.
Yeah, when it was funny. Like, I mean, it's not funny, but it's funny now. We've seen a lot of things leading up to this, and I kind of think that the esports sale was the final straw. Before the esports sale, I think Chris was lurking around, and I noticed it, and I said, why is he around? And they were like, oh, he's just here to help out. And like, I tell people privately, that's a red flag, because in the corporate world...
You tell me that.
Yeah, in the corporate world, if you bring around a boss, and there's already a boss there, that means that the original boss isn't doing what he's supposed to be doing, otherwise that other boss wouldn't be here, because he had his hands all over Gods Unchained, and who knows what else he was doing. So... yeah, the writing was on the wall, and that last sale, they put so much into that last sale to promote it, and it flopped. And not too long after that, someone got moved to economics. And I was like, okay, that's weird. And then a month or two later, he was gone. So yeah, there's really not much to say to that, except the curtains matched the drapes in that one. Yeah, they went with MindLoader. MindLoader, I can't say enough good things about them. I was skeptical that they could get out what they got out, and they did. Chris talked them up that they were pros and that they were far beyond the previous company, Stepico. I don't know how to, calculate all that, or what is real and what is, garbage, so to speak, but they got the job done. Well, in Stepico's defense, they were handed old code, and from my understanding, you can't change old code to make it into their own code.
It was their own code.
Yeah, but I mean, the game was completely different too. I mean, they totally shifted everything, so they got to start from the ground up. I don't know if that's an advantage or not, but whatever the case, MindLoader has been doing the job, and I can't wait for the public alpha test or private alpha test, whatever's coming here soon, for us to get our hands on it and play it some more.
Yeah. Well, I was very skeptical that they'd have it out by the end of this year or 2023, and they did delay the game. In obviously, we knew it was coming because it was the right decision, because they could have got a game out, but it wouldn't have been a proper game. So, kind of like people that said it wouldn't be out in 8 months were kind of right, weren't they?
Oh yeah,
it wasn't a good enough game. But that doesn't take away from how much they achieved. MindLoader, they're unbelievable how fast they can code and the quality that they can code it that quick. I haven't seen a bug in the game. I haven't not come across a bug, not one.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Unbelievable.
That's good.
Anyway, moving on to March. 8 games were announced, and there's only one dead game out of the list here. So Robo World doesn't look like they're building anymore. Lots of their socials and stuff inactive and all that kind of stuff. Their website down. Maybe they'll come back. Now the ball's back. Tolan Worlds is building still. Metalcore, Shardbound, Infinite Victory. That was the 3 big announced at GDC. They're published by Immutable, pretty much owned by Immutable now, and they're huge games that are the AAA titles. Block Leak Games was migrating from Flow, which did make an appearance on the Passport release, but disappeared again after a bug I found. It'll be back soon. So it'll be another game on the Passport to be able to play. Crystal and Evermoon were, I discovered it personally. They never announced it in this month. I discovered them in this month and started doing some work for them.
Which one was that? Evermoon?
No, Crystal.
Okay.
It was a TCG style tactics game, similar to Starbound, and but a bit less scale. It was one of the first ones that broke as without an announcement. But I was really scared because I hadn't done that for a game on a permissionless chain. I didn't know if I was selling a scam or not, but that wasn't the case. So I was really hesitant to do it. Since then I've been like, whatever. If I find out a game's building, I send it. So,
right.
It's your responsibility to look after your funds, not mine. Do your own research, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But Evermoon was also announced just before the GDC, and it's turned out to be a bit of a sleeper. Anyway, did you have something to add, Gail, there? Or
yeah, I was just asking a quick question. Is see Evermoon, are you only able to download that on the Play Store? Is that opened up to Apple or anything? Because I've been accepted to be like a tester, and I can't figure out how to get it downloaded.
Yeah, I think you need to go to Discord and work it out. Create a ticket. I had to do the same, mate. It's not easy.
Yeah,
you need to get passcode and stuff. So, but yeah, it's a fun game. I played it, but it wasn't with versus real people. It's just like bots at the moment. So I got a bit bored. So I only played 2 games, but it's good. Like it's a little Mobile Legends clone. So this is when we started to get some serious numbers in Immutable signing each month. From 4 or 5 to 8 this month. Huge games as well. Anything else on the games, boys? We move on?
Yeah, star-studded lineup this month: Metalcore, Shardbound, Infinite Victory, Evermoon. Those 4 titles right there, they've got some significant weight to them, especially those first 3: Metalcore, Shardbound, and Infinite Victory. We've talked about them. Not so much Metalcore, but Shardbound and Infinite Victory in our past podcasts. Block Elite Games, aren't they tied somehow, some way to
Warner
Hollywood?
Brothers.
Yes, thank you. Warner Brothers. That's what I thought. Yes, so that's another big title. They were featured on that nice little Passport video, so something's got to be going on there. This is a heavy month for some quality products coming to the Immutable platform.
Yeah.
Also, Toll Worlds, I know they're partnered with Elixir, right? So
Yeah.
I seen in an article that they are going to be a confirmed game for GameStop Player. They're one of the only ones. So, but you can't tell that I'm a big GameStop guy. So if I see any GameStop stuff going on, I'm going to butt in and mention it.
No, go ahead, man. That's why you're here. You're the expert on that stuff compared to us.
Yeah, Total Words they've came out and said that they will be on the GameStop Player in a news article with their partnership with Elixir.
Yeah, I think I saw that they're exclusive to Elixir. They signed an exclusive deal, didn't they? Which is part of the player. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Moving on, Undead Blocks went live. So there's a heap of tournaments for cash sponsored by certain products back then. Was that right? Was that this was the live of the Undead coin, wasn't it? You tell us about Undead Blocks. What happened in March, mate?
Yeah. Boy, this is I was heavily involved in this game. I don't know what happened. Something happened. What happened exactly? I have my thoughts. I'm not going to say anything until I have confirmation. I want to have these guys on. I'm going to reach out to them one of these days. I would like to have them on and see if they want to tell what's going on. We like to be real here on this podcast, so I'm going to be pretty frank about this. They're not happy with Immutable. And this is probably one of 15 that has said that they're not happy with Immutable. You can't please them all. This is very shocking to me because I had such high hopes on this game. It was actually a real deal play a game. They had some really good modes. One of my favorites was Weapon Roulette in the tournaments. I absolutely loved that mode. The ability to stream that mode and have fun with it and participate in the tournaments. They had something there and something happened. My speculation is possibly a rug, but I don't have enough evidence to support that. But they're not happy with Immutable. I hope Immutable reaches out to them and they can work something out. But then again, maybe there's a reason why Immutable is not reaching out to them. Maybe we don't know, but something happened. That's what we do know.
Well, I think Reyes is the custom success guy, and he was no longer with Immutable, so maybe
yeah,
that's
but they got a sponsorship from Immutable. Don't forget when they put out their skins for weapon skins, they got a sponsorship, so they were on Immutable's radar. Immutable just doesn't give sponsorships to everybody, and for them to just be like, yeah, we're not gonna pick up the ball with you. There's a lot of smoke around this project. I don't know what.
I don't agree with that, mate. They've got one map. Yeah, the game. I played the game myself, and I'm not a shooter fan. It was fun for about 5 games, but I just went, this is boring. Like, it's just the same map over and over and over again.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
The same. There's literally. Do you understand a game? Like, I think these guys went what is it? Play to earn is undead. Is their motto?
Yeah.
And they thought that earning money was going to make them. People earning money was going to make them billions of dollars. Yeah, like they didn't. They've
no.
Sorry,
They didn't say that.
No. Let me finish.
Okay.
I think they think that. Yeah, because that was their whole marketing. And where is the game modes? Where is the secondary maps? Where is the game? It's purely based around earning, from my perspective. Same game's been out for over a year and a half. A year, maybe a year and a half. You could play this game before this date. This was the release of Undead, wasn't it? The tokens. And so it's just the same game over and over again. People get bored, and I think they thought that the earnings was going to make it worth. And then the earnings, what happened to that, mate? They had to shut the bridge, and it didn't grow. And now they're blaming Immutable?
I'm not saying they're blaming Immutable. I'm just saying that. So let me back up. You threw a lot out there. I played the game. There was not a lot of money to be made. You had to play a lot. I played a lot, and I never got one of the gold Z-Bucks. Never. And I played a lot. Some people were a little bit more lucky than me. And Grant repeatedly said on many, many podcasts, this isn't a game about getting rich. This is a game about maybe you make some pizza money here and there. Because they were very big about not being an extractor model because they had seen what Axie had done. So that was repeatedly said over and over again. And when I played the game, they were serious. Like, I'm telling you, something happened that we don't know about. And I have a feeling somebody took the treasury. I'm just guessing. I don't have any evidence. And they ran out of money. And I agree with what you said, though. What I want to make sure you understand is Immutable sponsored them. Immutable just doesn't sponsor anybody for one of their NFT drops, right? They're very selective about that. So Immutable believed in them up to a point, and for them to not be talking about them or talking to them, I think maybe Immutable knows something, and that's why they're not talking to them, possibly. And I am completely speculating. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, well, maybe they realized that they haven't built any new features into the game for.
They were supposed to. There was a warehouse that was supposed to be released in addition to mobile. They'd been talking about it. They showed some pictures of it. They had a warehouse map and mobile. They were showing mobile. They showed it playing live. It never came out, and they went to Vietnam with their product, and ever since they went to Vietnam for production, that's when everything got weird. So that's all I know.
Yeah, I saw them talking about multi-chain back before this was released anyway, so we'll see. Not everything's going to go smoothly, and I just think Immutable focuses on where the hit chances are. And Undead Luck for me was never going to be a hit. They were too slow to build. Quality, the game loop was fun for a little while, but it was just got boring pretty quick. It's the same map, same thing over and over again. Different weapons. You couldn't even use a different skin. So as in the character you play in. So like you were just, there's only one that I could play when I first started playing it for 6 months. Anyway, let's move on. It's we'll see what happens with Undead blocks.
Yep.
I think they're typical degen crew builders. That. So your potential guesses of what happened, you just mentioned, may have been true. Moving on, Illuvium Beyond, the PFP collector game. Gamified game released in March. That was fun. I collect them still. Does anyone else collect them?
No, I haven't played it. I wish I would. There's so many games I got to catch on. You're gonna have to teach me about this stuff, but yeah, I don't have anything to add for that, brother.
What about
Yeah, I
Gale?
have nothing to collect either. I haven't
So
collected anything.
yeah, I probably spent $100 on discs and stuff, maybe a bit more.
Is that the one where you go around
but-
trying to find pieces?
No, it's not. No, it's not a game. It's a gamified collectors PFP collection game. So you remember the old sleeves that you get, for cards and stuff.
Yeah.
And you make up certain sets. You want to get the hollow of each one of those. You want to get the black background of one of these. You want to get the smiling version. So there's thousands of combos of these PFPs that you can get with different facial looks and things like that. And then they've got all these sleeves that you can sleeve your NFTs into to get points. And then the higher the points you are, the more higher on the ladder you are. It's perfect gamification. It's a perfect example of gamification. And you go on the marketplace. So what I do is I go on the marketplace and you just find some people that are doing things like selling really good NFTs for 20 cents. I'm like, bang, I'll get that one. I don't actually bond any of them yet. So there's also these extra things you can get that like 5 different slots to put like a nose on them, an earring, things like that. And once you bond them, they stay like that forever. All mine are still raw. I'm not bonding any of them. So you should be able. One thing they missed, you should have been able to debond and send your NFT back to the state it was in at any state. And if they do that, then I'll bond them. But I don't want to ruin them until then.
Gotcha. I'm gonna have to pick your brain on this one so I get into this a little bit more.
It's a fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. I might be interested in doing that too.
Yeah. And we've just got a new guest join us. Up midway through the show. How you going, DeSuze? Are you ready to talk yet, mate?
Oh, that's the Seuss. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, he might be not. His mic's not working yet. We'll move on. So Polygon ZK EVM partnership was announced.
Huge.
At GDC, was it? This was, I think the biggest thing was the takeaway was that it was Robbie learned his lesson on hyping things up, and it was taken very negatively by the community, like big deal, kind of whatever. But it's, since the announcement, we've seen the benefit it's been to be on it. What's happened as a result of the partnership.
I'm laughing that you said that because I literally have in my notes next to that on our bullet point thing here. People were not thrilled about this at first. That's what I wrote down. It was
because
I
Robbie made
remember
it. Yeah, I was a bit disappointed when I first heard it as well. It sounded like it was going to be like a Steam integration. Go on, go.
Yeah, but look how far it's come now and what it's led to, so people probably should have been maybe more excited back then.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
Mate,
know
it's,
either. I just was like, oh, they're partnering up with Polygon. Okay. And then like I was watching the reaction and everybody was like, that's it?
So ultimately, most of the games that have won this year have been Polygon games. Like 70% of them that have announced since this announcement were building on Polygon or partnered with Polygon in some form, and then they were deciding between Immutable and Polygon in the end, or just Polygon. So we've won as a chain, as a support of the chain, many games, like hundreds, that were already building on Polygon. Then on top, so what everyone was thinking was like a consumer-based benefit, like a partnership with Steam, a massive game like Riot Games, like League of Legends or something like that kind of scale, building the next version on a middle, or some massive thing that the consumer directly benefited from. But what they don't realize, and I didn't realize at first, was this is end game technology for Immutable. They don't need to worry about any other technology. This is the technology needed to scale billions of players on the blockchain. And before that, 9,000 TPS or whatever, TPS other chains have, which is all less than that. Even if you do sideways, like there's nothing that could handle every single game in the world with billions of players on it. And that's what this is why it was so huge, which most of us didn't see at the start.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Good stuff.
Moving on.
Biggest announcement, probably the biggest announcement of the year that didn't get the credit it deserved.
Yeah, I still think Passport was well. without ZKVM, you probably can't do Passport, but you can obviously not the same effect with the gas free and the scalability. But that combined with Passport to me were huge.
Mm-hmm.
And then a big game, Cross the Ages, launched as well in March, which was on the Mutable X platform, not on the ZKVM, obviously, and it's gone to raging success. It's a card game TCG with a bit of different flavor. It's got heaps of plans for expanding to physicals and tournaments. They've had tournaments this year. It's got 20,000 holders. It's got a lot of Web 2 players. It's integrating Web 2 and Web 3 that can play together. And so they're slowly growing. The number one games on the download on Australia and the game store for a while, as well as France and other countries, Japan. So yeah, they've had a great year and a great launch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's on my phone now. I've been tinkering around with it. I'm not good at all. I have a lot of learning to do, but it's a game that I'm really trying to put some time and eventually maybe some resources into it, because they are definitely making some headway in the space for sure on the Mutable platform.
Yeah, I downloaded it as well on my my PC, but it seems like it's more for a mobile layout. So
Yeah,
I'm going to look at it that way.
it's on mobile.
Yeah, I have it on my PC, so it looks like a mobile phone. You know, it's a small screen on the PC. So I'm going to try and get it on my phone, and then I'm going to get a fair rattle at it, you know.
Yeah, there's a few Immutable fans that love this game. It's got a lot of fans and if you saw the Heroes Legacy tournament, there was like a crazy crowd of about 500 people there live in France for the World Championship, and it was like they were going ballistic. It's like it could be a big one for the future.
Yeah, yep. I'm up next on April. Not a whole lot of announcements, but they did have 7 games. Kydro, do I got that pronounced right? Kydro?
Yeah.
Kydro, Eon Rift, Dark Country, Frayful, Valtris, Undead's Metaverse, and Paw Wars. 2 that I looked at kind of briefly back then, which is forever now, was Eon Rift and Undead's Metaverse. I was kind of interested in those 2. Don't know a whole lot about the other ones. You got any information on those, Rubik?
Yeah, Kydro is huge, mate. So GadgetBot, that are like one of the world's leading animation studios and storytellers, and like just all about art. They're the design and art side of things. They've got a comic book gets millions of viewers of their comic book, and they've got like a worldwide phenomenon on like anime style comic book. So they've got this huge Web 2 audience, and they're a bit of degens. Robert and Peggy Chung are builders of it, and so they do things like art for Apex Legends, for all the Blizzard's games. Like they're huge. They also did Wagmi's new art that's about to come out. So they're building a world, like an IP around the Kydro, which is this anime, robots kind of style, interplanetary kind of game. It's an ARPG, top-down sort of view. It's really exciting. It's one of the best games under the radar at the moment, building on Immutable.
Really? Holy smokes.
Yeah, man. These are huge. I've tweeted that this is one of the biggest announcements of the year. I got a bit worried because although I love AVAX and they're my number 2 chain that I'll play games on, they've got a lot of good games there. Robert's kind of like a bit of an AVAX fan, so I thought. And then I saw Merit Circle do all these like news articles and stuff on them, and then I kind of like went to my contacts. Go, you better watch these guys. They're being being courted by a lot of the competition, mate. And then the next thing you know, they're on Between Two Layers, being interviewed and committing to ZK EVM and talking about Immutable and how great it's working with them. So
nice.
Yeah, so that's a really big one, man. And Eon Rift is huge. They're a similar story. They're a massive comic book Web 2 guys.
Yep.
They're building 4 or 5 mini games. Now, Frayful's dead. They went back to Web 2. They didn't mint out. They were minting on Immutable. They put a thing in for $20, an NFT, and then they put out a thing in their server saying, should we mint on layer 1 or Immutable? And they did no marketing, and the survey came back on layer 1, and the gas at the time of their mint was $25. And I said to them, "What are you doing? You're minting. You're doing a $20 mint on gas where it's more than the token. Who's going to buy it, mate? Nobody.
Right.
Yeah. I couldn't get through to them. I tried to show them how to do it on before they did it. They went ahead with it anyway, and they literally sold, I think, less than 10 NFTs on layer one.
Oh my gosh.
because the gas was higher than the value of the NFT. So then next thing I see is the announcement, we're going back to Web 2. Web 3 is not for us.
Yeah, they clearly don't know what they're doing over here on this side. So they
lead a horse
know.
Lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, mate.
Yeah.
Valkyrius has been built by a one-man band, like a little game, but he was doing a lot of tweeting about it, but not anymore. So wondering if he's still building that. It's a little turn-based kind of auto battle, like Guild of Guardians' new model, but a little bit less AAA. And Paul Wars they pivoted. They're out now. You can play that game on Immutable. They don't do any marketing that I see ever about their card game, but they do all this. Like, they've got all these different NFT collections, and the cards are on Immutable, but they do all this ordinal stuff as well, and that's where they're focusing, because Bitcoin money, mate, is where the money's at these days. You know? So
yeah, it's hot right now. It's hot. Yeah. You forgot what you're doing a fantastic job on the games, by the way. You're really carrying us here, but Undead's Metaverse, that one, it reminded me like an Undead version of Bored Apes with a PFP, but I'm always a fan of Undead, and it's a MMO RPG post-apocalyptic world. I always like the Undead, so I was hyped when I seen this back then, and I kind of forgot about it because I get sidetracked by everything out there. Do you have any specific news on this one?
They've got an Undead's Rush game out that's on B&B right now, like a little mini game, and I'm wondering if they're still building an Immutable. I don't know. We'll see. I don't really follow them.
Okay.
They're very D-Genny style people that are building. They've sold a huge amount of NFTs, and something like $200 million worth of NFTs have sold. Some crazy number like that. They're the second highest gaming NFT collection ever on layer one.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting to follow. The latest thing is they're going to release in 2024 the new game, and I've got a bit of a hunch that it might be Web 2, their main game, and their Rush game will stay Web 3. I don't know that. We'll need to come back to you on that.
No, that's fine.
We did miss one other game, Dark Country. Sorry, it's a TCG. It was building on Wax, and they announced that no Immutable partnership. Immutable's not mentioned them ever. That they're going to do a release on Immutable. It's another one of those games that are probably not getting the playing numbers, and look at the big boys Immutable. We're gonna release a collection here and on that chain, but no marketing, no effort, no benefits of what you get. No, I couldn't tell you what those cards are for, anything, and I tried to look at it. Right. It's like, unfortunately, man, we're not stupid on Immutable, mate. Yeah.
Right.
If you're going to do a release on Immutable, show us why we should buy your NFTs.
Right.
If you want to make money out of dumb people, go and release on Ronin. Those people will buy anything you release.
Shots fired. Oh.
No, it's true.
No, I know.
No prisoner.
Is it true?
No, you're not wrong.
Wondering?
You're not wrong.
What did he say? I didn't hear it. What did he say?
I said you take no prisoners.
No, it's true, mate. You can.
Oh no, I know.
You can release a polished turd on a Ronin, and you'll sell it for $1,000, mate. Because there's somebody on there who's like, look at this Ronin, it's so great. So that's not a negative thing, man. They've built this community that they're so one-eyed and faithful to their chain that they've got more liquidity for polished turds than Immutable. It's just the facts.
Right.
I'm pretty sure Tonin just actually fused his Axie, and he actually has a turd on its head, so you're not wrong.
Nice.
See, I told you I was right. Welcome to the show, D'Souza.
Mm-hmm.
Glad you could make us.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
I know it's weird, but we got sidetracked in the Ronin. That never happens, right? But yeah. In April, probably the one thing I didn't even realize this. I knew Immutable was at NFT NYC, but they're involved in a multi-year sponsorship with them now. So that's pretty big in my opinion. They're Immutable, man. You can't knock their marketing and their ability to get out there and get seen, and that's probably the biggest NFT conference that's going on right now, and they've got their brand all over there. So I like seeing that. You got any thoughts on that?
The tickets actually for NFT NYC were done by Immutable.
Yeah, on the platform. Yeah, yep. Gotta like seeing that, man.
Yeah, you know that. I've got some things to say on NFT NYC. It was a huge disappointment. It was like during the bear market, it was down on numbers on everything from the year before. If you look at the attendance history, it was on an exponential growth, and then that year it dipped right down to less than the year before by a fair bit. And if you look at the NFT NYC 2024, and look at all the current sponsors, you do not see Immutable listed anywhere. So a multi-year sponsorship, I don't know if that's continuing this year, because it was supposed to be for 2 years, both London and New York City, and it doesn't look like it's this year. But I might be wrong. I might be missing something somewhere.
Well, that's disappointing. I didn't see that.
Yeah. Anyone else have any insight into that? Am I right or wrong? Anyway, let's keep it on.
I did notice that as well. I mean, I went to I actually had a booth at NFT LA as well, and I mean the attendance numbers for that were just terrible. There was honestly no one. I mean, it was the middle of the bear market, and it was terrible timing and everything like that. But yeah, it was. I mean, it might have to do with that and having so much of the team being in Australia and everything like that. But I did notice that I didn't see Immutable on there for the major sponsor stuff.
This is the first time I saw that. You all think I'm a crazy conspiracy theorist that has this, sees things that it's not real. But I remember there's a guy I cannot stand. Can you believe that I don't like someone on Twitter? Anyway, his name is Ready Player someone. He's an absolute idiot. And he's no longer part of that clan. He come from AWS. He's like a young 22-year-old, and he wrote a post about it was deliberately attacking NYC NFT, and it was like before it came out, he was saying this year's going to be a major fail, and he's been an anti-Immutable guy on Twitter before a lot. And as soon as it was announced, it was a couple of days later, he said, "Is there anyone else feeling that the NFT NYC is going to be a mega fail this year?" And then you know what happened? He's got a bit of influence. There's lots of comments from that. Yeah. The hive mind started, and I think that played a small part in the downfall of that event. So
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, moving along, we've got Kiraverse open beta launch. This game's growing more and more on me lately. I knew about it a while ago, but lately I've been seeing more of the videos of the game itself. It's a free-to-play multiplayer game that allows users to compete and earn digital assets in a competitive game mode. Pretty much a third-person shooter, kind of Fortnite-y, not exactly, but yeah, this is one that I've got my eyeball on. Anybody want to add to that at all?
Yeah, they were a big GameStop NFT project as well. They have a pretty good team there. They have a great product. I've played it quite a bit. I think they have a free mint that's coming up as well that they're doing. And they have a portion of their project that is called Pixel to Poly, which is basically taking your 2D NFTs and assets like that and transforming them into 3D assets so that you can play them in game. So they're partnering with a lot of big, PFP collection type projects and bringing a lot of those PFPs to actual 3D assets to be playable in game. And they also are working on a wagering system so that you basically have matches that you go in either 1v1 or up to 5v5 or whatnot and go in and run matches for actual cryptocurrency.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. They've reached the top 10 of Immutable marketplace sales on there. They've got a few collections and on different chains, but their main one's on Immutable, and it's been doing like 400k or something, or 300k every 7 days, which is in the top 10 now, and that's been pretty consistent recently. So yeah, there's lots of activity on the NFTs for it as well. And they've released version 2.0 of their beta, which is expanded the game hugely, like D'Souza's saying. So I think you'll see momentum and people are saying it's a big disappointment, but that's just because Beta 1 wasn't really that much of a game. It was simple, it was the one map, it was one, the graphics weren't great, and they've really polished everything. Now released, is it out yet, D'Souza, the 2.0?
Actually, yeah, I think the officially, like, they repolished a couple of the maps and everything, and redesigned some of the stuff. Some of the physics they fixed and everything as well. And I think some of the disappointment might have been around the GameStop NFT marketplace type stuff, where there was kind of some pandering to the GameStop community about some of their characters, Eva and Nate. They used the GameStop logos and everything, which they paid to do.
America.
Which what's that?
Wasn't it like they named G America and all that? I heard
Yeah,
something along
so
those.
some people were kind of alluding to that tinfoil hat type stuff.
Yeah.
trying to say that GameStop had a lot more involvement in the game, and I think that some of their Discord admins may have allowed that tinfoil type stuff to go on a little bit further than they should have. But nonetheless, they're the only ones that at the time were actually putting out playable games. So I think they were kind of getting the most out of having to pay for using the GameStop logo stuff, which honestly I don't really mind. It might have gone a little too far in some areas, but like I said, that they did that, but they actually have something that is playable, that's fun. There were some bugs early on that were pretty horrific, but they were quick to patch them and things like that, and they were available on the Elixir launcher as well. So it was accessible to a lot of other players that may not have been privy to the GameStop marketplace and stuff like that. So they've done a really good job of marketing and things of that nature. They also did do a mint on layer 1. So they have more exposure to other areas of the Ethereum ecosystem, which is good. It'll be interesting to see. I'm sure that this free mint's going to go super quick, and it's going to kind of add to some of the hype and momentum going into the further release stuff. So definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's climbing into the ranks of one of the heavy hitters of Immutable. I just recently put it into one of my videos because I was looking at the entire ecosystem, and I was like, this one's got some potential. So, man, that was some great info. I'm glad you showed up, because you had a ton of info on that. So great job on that. This next one, I'm a little scratching my head. This one, I remember when they came out, and I was like, cool, another game publisher. iLogos is going to be building games on Immutable. I haven't seen any announcements from them. I don't know what they're doing. They're claiming 1.5 billion players made happy. They have a lot of partnerships. It looks like they're pretty important. But what does anybody have any intel on what they're doing with Immutable? Some information.
Yeah, Rubik's got some good stuff on this one.
We interviewed him, didn't we? Was it D'Souza, and I? His Logos is a porting company that ports games from one, like from PlayStation to PC or PC to PlayStation, things like that. They've done 496 games at the last time that I looked.
Oh wow!
And they've got so they're huge in terms of this kind of thing. But they also do everything from art, anything you needed to build, just like a mine loader, kind of like a mine loader. But their founder's quite big on Immutable, and he's building Rift Wardens, kind of separate to iLogos. It's got other partners, but Alexander Goldibin is the founder of iLogos and the founder of this game. It's not tied exactly, but I'm sure iLogos has their devs working on it. Rift Wardens, it's
called My NFT Wars, and he actually said that he regrets having that in the name, but it is what it is, and we we're like, hey, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So I think that's more the reason that we just try to call it Rift Wardens, which is like the main first release, I think, of the actual game, right?
Yeah, they've got a mint on right now. I logged in as Passport on Atomic Hub to try out the Atomic Hub marketplace, and there was a bug, and it charged me twice. And I bought 2 NFT boxes, and I got 2, but I was charged for 4. That was the 22nd of December, Atomic Hub. You might want to finally respond to me and say, hey, we're on this. We're going to give you your money back. That'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah, I was gonna mint for that, but then it asks for like my social security and all that stuff, and I was like, dude, I'm not gonna KYC for Atomic Hub for this, so nope.
Really? Do it with a VPN, mate. I didn't have to do that.
Yeah, I
VPN
think it
is-
was because I wanted to use my credit card instead of crypto because I didn't have any available ETH at the time, and I was like, I didn't want to go through the steps, so I was like, at that point when it asked for my social security, I was like, nope, bye.
Nice.
Well, yeah. Anyway, the logos. The message from the founder is that everything they build from their logos will go on Immutable. And they've moved from the Stark. They actually went into why they're building on Stark X, and I think they've converted them into. Oh, they have. They announced that 3 weeks after we interviewed, and he adamantly said he's building on Stark X. Remember that, DeSuze? No, I'm 100% building on Stark X. I'm not going to ZK AVM. 3 weeks later, official announcement.
I think we might have talked him out of it.
ZK AVM, and I think maybe partly because he would have found out about the gas abstraction that's come out a couple of months later after he announced that. So anyway,
yeah, with Relayer and everything, and allowing him to sponsor gas and stuff, that was probably a big factor.
Yeah, but also, we might have. Let's just pretend that we influenced it. Okay, so moving on back. This is taking a lot, as we expected. This is taking a lot longer than we thought. There's so much to talk about on Immutable. We thought we'd be done by now, but we're not even halfway. Games announced was only 3 in May. It was actually. This is from our quick review. There might be more games that we missed, but there possibly is. Mama Guru, Dark Machines from MetaX, and Weedoverse. So Weedoverse is a big social weed metaverse where you build your. There actually ties into real weed as well. You can get real weed from playing the game, so it's pretty cool if you're into weed. And then there's Dark Machines, which that was just the announcement then with no information other than the studio. The studio is huge, 150 devs from AAA studios, and backed by Square Enix and other big studios, led by a design guy that we've interviewed on this podcast later, many months later, who's an absolute genius. And so that's an exciting one, really exciting game. And Mama Guru, which I'm going to talk a bit more about later in another part of our pod. But yeah, that was a little bit of a disappointment, that one. Story-based game.
That was one I was going to bring up later as well. So we'll say that for later.
Yeah. Anyone else got anything about those games?
Dark Machine, yeah, we talked to them. That game looks like a ton of potential. The ability to merge your mechs into something bigger is like a new kind of concept that bringing back the old school from the 80s, and with like Voltron, all the robots come together. That's what it kind of reminds me of. I know it's not going to work exactly like that, but you can see some of the old school mentality that the founders have, and decent company there with MetaX Studios. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Moving on, Immutable Checkout was introduced, which was DeSuze and I both did a study piece on it, and it's awesome. It's like a DEX, but just a system for payments, and you can swap on it as well. So it is a DEX, but it's not a fully encompassing DEX. It's just specific to Immutable's needs. I don't think you can swap, every single coin you can from like GU to gods. It's yet to be known. So maybe we still need other DEXs to be able to do more obscure type things, but it will do all the main things we want to do. Payment, and there's been another announcement later on in the year, but actually in December, that will go into more detail about the checkout then. But yeah, anyone else wanted to add something on checkout?
Yeah, checkout. I'll chime in real quick here. Definitely need those dexes. I just did that 12 days of IMXmas, and I had a little bit of ETH, I had some IMX, I had some GOG, and I would have loved to shift into other tokens to give out instead of just straight up IMX. And it's a restriction point, and if they can solve that and get that, it's going to make that platform that much better.
Yeah, QuickSwap just did a vote to bring their DragonFi quick swap decks over to Immutable. So hopefully that went well, and they'll agree to do that, because that's another thing, be able to trade out some of these tokens without having to swap them to a different layer or anything like that.
Honestly, man, it would work out of the box with a few front end changes, a couple of weeks of work, and they'll have it working on Immutable. Why wouldn't they do it? It'd be madness not to, since it's a ZK EVM equivalent chain. If they've got a quick swap on ETH layer 1, they can just port that exact code into Immutable ZK EVM, change the front end a bit, and then it's working. So
yeah, and they're already really big on Polygon, so
yeah. That's what they've announced, a lot of ZK VM chains to build on. If you haven't noticed that, like actual equivalents to the Polygon CDK, which Immutable kind of is CDK, I believe. Moving on. So this is the month where Immutable reached 150 games building on Immutable. So that's when you hear people say, "Oh, 150 games are building on Immutable." They're going off this announcement. Since then, we know there's a lot more. But I already know about on my form, there's 130 that we know of. And that's not including the games that have fallen by the wayside. So, yep, they had 150 games building in development and 14 marketplaces. So a lot more since then. But it was a good milestone. Moving on, Across the Ages, #1 app in France as well as Australia. I think that was just like the sign of them starting to go big, and held that #1 in France for 12 weeks straight. So pretty crazy to see a Web3 game start to get that kind of traction. Anyone got any comments on that? Nope.
No,
Okay,
not really.
moving on.
It's just a lot of trading, which is great. I mean, for the ecosystem and everything like that, it's got a killer, ecosystem, or not an ecosystem. It has a killer fan base and stuff like that, and it looks like it's going to go pretty far there.
Did they not sell one of the largest selling NFTs or something?
Yeah, $130,000 sale they made on it. Someone bought like some gold pass or something.
That's
Some
pretty
super fan, yeah. That's what the games need to do. They need to build for the free-to-play players. They need to build for the ones who want to spend $100, and they want to build that people that have got the whales can benefit, that doesn't ruin the game by spending $130,000. No one's game's ruined by playing, someone spending $130,000. But if you make a game, like there's a card in Gods Unchained that's about $100,000, and if you come up against it, you lose. That's it. You just lose straight away. And it kind of like ruins that game. It doesn't ruin the whole game, and you can't use it in competitions, but you can use it on weekend ranked, and people just sit there and farm. I come across it the other day. I'm in bloody like tier 9 or something out of 14, or 13, and some guy with this card that round 5. He puts out a card that's like just destroys me. There's nothing I can do. So, it doesn't happen I've had it 2 or 3 times since I've played the game, so it hasn't ruined the game for me. But what my point is, you need to design a game that can bring in the money from the big whales and your $100 players or $200 players, and everyone still has fun. And that's what Cash Across the Ages is benefiting from. They've built that. Does anyone disagree with that?
No, I agree.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah. Preach, brother, preach.
I don't do much of that, do I? Block Laws started its open beta. A lot of us were involved in that game. I played it for a little bit, and I was a bit disappointed that it's like set things. Like I thought I could build my own city, and build my own, build my own, like design my own city where everything's got set plots. I got a bit disappointed with that, to be honest with you. What did everyone else think about Block Laws and its open beta?
I got to interview the CEO a long time ago before I came to Gamers Galaxy, and I was looking into the game a long time ago, and my first impression was they're trying to do a bunch all at once, and that kind of gave me a red flag. I felt like they were trying to do too much too fast, and I haven't gone back since. Their trailer was nice. They got great cinematography, great marketing in that aspect, but I feel like it's too big. And even if everything works perfectly and stuff like that, for me, I don't have the time to invest into that type of style of game where you have to play hours and hours and maintain your farmers and all that. It's a lot of work, in my opinion. It'd probably do well in the Ronin chain for all the farmers and bots that get over there. But oops, sorry. Yeah, it's they got a lot of good things going. They're from a Web 2 organization. CEO is a really nice guy. A lot of great vision, a lot good team, but it seems too big for me.
Yeah, the trailer looked awesome for that, but I haven't been able to play it yet. It does look like a very exciting game though, but I haven't been able to jump in on it yet, so I can't really judge yet on how well it's going to be. But it looks good so far from where I'm sitting.
Yeah, they just tweeted out like a new season pass or whatever that they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's a lot to do. I played it for a little while. They did a big thing with Michael the Count Bisping from UFC. Which,
I remember that.
Yeah. So like they're pulling out all the stops for marketing. Really wish they'd let their game do a lot of the speaking, and put more into that. I like the artwork that they did for their trailer and stuff. It's probably one of the higher quality, videos and cutscene type things out there. But still, again, it's not necessarily my style of game. I played it because I got the free mint or whatever. I got like the few of the villagers or whatever. Don't necessarily like the UX of it. You have to like kind of stake your characters into the game, which is fine. I've done that before, but now I don't see them in my wallet, and then I wanted to pull them out so that I could sell them, and I don't even know how to do that now, and it's like a waste of my time.
Wasn't that UFC fighter the one that went off on them publicly?
Yeah, that was deliberate. It was like part of the.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
They had a fight.
It's kind of like a WWE thing.
Yep. Okay, that's what we were wondering, but I never heard back if that was the case or not. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
all press is good press, right?
Obvious, mate. It was like
okay.
Only people that didn't believe that was a setup was Americans. Sorry, mate.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. He took a shot at me.
WWE, mate, you guys have got too you guys believe that's real.
I thought it might be fake, but I wasn't sure, and I didn't hear any more about it, so I don't know. I'm too busy.
I'm just joking. Having a snap, mate.
No, I know.
No, they've done $39 million on their banners, so
wow.
They're doing well. My last thing on them is that they're dual chain, polygon, mutable. Having to remember which hero was where, you can put them in and out and stuff. That's when I made a decision that multi-chain games are not for me, and I stopped playing, to be honest with you. So we'll see if they can polish that up with ZK EVM and just go one chain, make it easier. If they do just decide to go there. Moving on, last one of May, PB2 Illuvium's Overworld launched, which was to a mixed reception. The fanboys loved it, and the people that wanted a game it's no crypto integration. The whole fun of that's going to be the excitement of catching something that you own, and there's none of that yet. So it was obvious to me it was not going to be fun until that is brought in. So we'll, what does anyone else think about the PB launch? Anything?
All I got really say is how pretty everything was. It was the first time it looked actually pretty polished. The interactions of going out and you could collect the alluvials, but you couldn't do anything with them. That was kind of the frustrating part, right? So obviously a lot more to come from that.
Yeah, well, that was May. We're rolling into June here, and games announced in June. They had 5 of them. Metamorph. Oh my gosh, how do you even pronounce this? Oh yeah, Bun game. Is that right?
Oh yeah, Bun.
Oh yeah, Bun.
Oh yeah, Bun game. Oh my lord, you guys are giving me all the hard ones tonight.
Crixivia.
Overlord. I got that one. Overlord. Got it. And Last Resort. I don't really know much about these games. Yeah, you're gonna have to carry me on this one, the Rubik. I don't even remember. I remember Last Resort a little bit, but you got anything on this one, Rubik?
Yeah. Metamorph looking like it's dead. I had no socials and website doesn't work. Discord can't connect to. I'm no longer in the Discord, so I think they've gone under. Oyabun game is a Japanese Neo Tokyo style collector's game. I'm not too big into it, but it's still building. They're constantly on. Does anyone else know about Oyabun game?
Yeah, I got into like their beta. Sent some funds over to their in-game or in-app wallet that was kind of obfuscated from your actual like MetaMask or anything like that. Poked around a little bit and pretty much stopped playing after that. It is a niche market type game. I see it why it's big in like Japan and stuff like that, but not really my style. So moved on from it pretty quick. It is more of a collector game. So
Okay. Crixivia, sorry, is MMORPG building on 5 chains, and their plans. I held a spaces for Yoda Labs for him. Sometimes I host spaces for them over at Yoda Labs. Shout out to Yoda Labs. And I interviewed. It was the hardest interview I ever done. It was like trying to get paint, blood from a rock, getting answers out of people. But ultimately, they're going multi-chain. I'm not sure how they're going to do it. There's nothing out yet on Immutable, so we'll see what they end up planning to do.
Extremely low poly, low graphics, render style. It's a wannabe RuneScape, and kind of it's very very low budget. So understandable why they're going multi-chain to try to extract as much value out of people as they can.
Yeah. Okay. And Last Resort, D'Souza and I also interviewed Matt Batal from France on this. It's a multiplayer mobile game. Zombie shooter. Pretty cool little game with crafting. Really good design. Really good, great game for blockchain and mobile. What did you think of that one?
And this is one of those ones where I can't wait till more of the games figure out the how to skirt around Apple's draconian rules for NFT games. So I know like Mavia game and stuff like that. They found a way to do that with their currency and stuff like that, but kind of turned a bunch of people off because of how they did that. But that was you, huh?
Oh yeah,
yeah. So unfortunately, it's like the only way to do it. But I see this being a more prevalent of a maneuver to try to get around it so that people on Apple can play. Definitely it's a fun game. Zombie survival, with a team type thing. So definitely has legs, and it's been in the top popularity games on Elixir Gaming as well for several weeks. So
yeah. Sorry, do you have something to say on Last Resort?
No, this is the one game out of the bunch that I remember we talked about it briefly on one of our podcasts, and I remember this one catching my interest because of what D'Souza says with the undead post-apocalypse survival. That's right up my alley. Those are the kind of games that I like to play, and I'm gonna, after hearing D'Souza talk about it, I'm gonna have to definitely check it out some more. And you said you can play it right now?
Yeah, you can. It's on the Elixir Games Launcher too, so you can play it on PC or on. I believe you can play it on like the Google Play Store.
I'll definitely check that out then. What were we gonna say, Rubik?
You can get it on Google Play Store.
Yeah.
Did you say?
Yes, it's a mobile game.
Yeah.
Overlord. Okay. Let's move on to Overlord. I did skip this one to come back this one. These guys have a cult following. It's unbelievable. Have you noticed? Anyone else noticed that? Their Creeps is there with a Z on the end is their main collection, and they've done like stupid amounts of trading volume on that collection and FLA1 collection.
Yeah, I think their floor is like 2.9 ETH or something right now. I have a couple people on Twitter that I'm friends with that have that as their profile. One of the guys, Samesy, he's big in IMX stuff too. So I gotta find out more about this stuff.
Yeah, they built. I saw their Overlord like introductory website. It was crazy graphics, crazy quality, and I thought, I hope this is immutable bounds, and then forgot about them. About 6 months later, when this came out, maybe even longer, and all of a sudden they're announced on Immutable, and I'm like, awesome. But they're building like I don't actually even know what they're building, but it's like, I think it's a lot of mini games combined into an IP again, like the Eon Rift Cadro style. Not Cadro, Eon Rift style, sorry, where they've got multiple mini games and a bigger world to come. We'll probably should be more prepared on that, but yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Like when we did this, I was like, oh my gosh, because like you guys did a lot of these podcasts earlier in the year, over half the year, and like you guys have really got dialed in with this stuff versus me. So yeah, lots to keep up with. The next one, Play Phoenix Games publisher raised $150 million, 150 mil, and they were supposed to be publishing games on Immutable. Andrew Soros even said excited to partner with the Legends. Big things coming soon. And, Rubik put in the notes, it's been radio silence since July 6th. So I went back and checked. You're absolutely right. There has been nothing said. Like, they got all this money. They got a nice endorsement from Andrew Sorrow. Andrew Sorrow came along, I believe, June-ish this year with Immutable, and he was at the 3XP event, if I'm not mistaken, and and then nothing. So I don't know what's going on with them. I would like to know more about it. Does anybody got any insider information on these guys? What happened?
Andrew Sorrow is an employee of Immutable. Yeah, he's the main sales guy. So he must have signed them. But like they're big wigs that started a studio, a publishing studio, kind of like the Exterio, the Horizon Labs Ventures. There's these people are saying that chains are going to be the future of publishing, and I think it was a couple of people said it to me. Bryson said it. I think Poop said it from AVAX, and other people have said it, and I couldn't disagree more. Yes, chains are going to publish shit tier titles. Yep, and they're going to go to the chain. Those shit tier titles that get 100 players to 1,000 players are going to go to the chains that can market for them. But the big AAA games that are going for millions of players are going to partner with proper publishing studios, like the ones I've said, and potentially these Phoenix, the people have got millions of dollars to advertise, to the right people, and that's what these guys are aiming for. Maybe they're just gone radio silence because it was like, hey, we're coming out, we're going to partner with Immutable, that's the chain we're going to build on, and now they've gone to partner with the games, building up, and they'll come out with an announcement closer to release. Because publisher studios in the traditional world, which these guys come from, don't announce a game 3 years before they come out or 2 years before they come out. They normally start advertising 6 months to 3 months before the game comes out to start the marketing ramp. So
yeah,
that's what
I personally think they've gone stealth to do exactly that. So
yeah,
awesome. Yeah, next up, Immutable was at the 3XP event. This is one of many to come throughout the year of events and conventions that they showed up at. You can't knock Immutable. They get out there. They probably are one of the best marketers in the space. I am like 95% sure Andrew Soros. Is it Andrew Soros? I'm sorry. Andrew Sorrow was at this event. That was like his first big introduction to the company, working with them. It's an event. They show up, they talk about the product, they meet people, make contacts. It's what Immutable does. Is anybody want to add to that at all?
The Suze was there.
Yeah, I got a ticket from Spike Reacts or whatever, and so I went there. It was a 3-day event. I went one day. it was pretty interesting. They had like the play metalcore stuff there. It was good to see a lot of people playing that. I had already gotten into the beta, so I had it at home, and I just went home and did that instead.
Nice.
See, you need me on this pod so I can keep it real. When I asked the Suze how that podcast, how the event was, he said I had a ticket for 3 days and I went to one. That's all I'm going to say.
Well,
did I just throw you in the? If you don't like,
No,
that,
I admitted it. I had a ticket for 3 days. I went for one because it was a long drive to LA, and I wasn't gonna go back again for like half the space that. Again, it's being done in the middle of the bear market, and I didn't want to have to deal with Crypto Stash or any of those guys anymore, and I just went home. My Pet Hooligan guys were all over the place, and I didn't play it, and it just wasn't my jam.
3XP's first year, it was never going to be a massive smash here on the first year. Those things take years to build up reputation, and they're going to build. I believe they're going to do another one. So now that's a bit out of the bear, and potentially we're in a kind of growth area. Maybe they come out with increase the quality of it and the numbers, and then eventually it could replace E3 potentially. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. So up next, Immutable has a product suite roadmap. A lot of these have come to fruition. Some of them very soon. They had the passport dashboard with activity feed asset management functionality. The other one that kind of came to fruition, gas-free listings. I believe that was tied to the ZK EVMs that they were talking about. That is either here or coming very soon with the release of ZK EVM. We knew about the global order book, checkout, relay, all the SDKs for the developer experience. This is more of the tech savvy side of it, but they just kind of put out all the different products that they were going to have for the developers to use to make things frictionless and enhance their ability to get people onto their games. I know the two tech heads in here are probably itching to say things much more eloquently than I just did.
No, it's just a product suite for the developers. You covered it pretty good.
Yeah. Guys on Chain, they launched on the Epic Games store. I think this is so overlooked. I don't see any other gaming chain that is pushing the boundaries of what this space needs to be on, whether it's Epic Games or Amazon Prime Gaming, or making those ties with Ubisoft. So yeah, the number one game that Immutable started with, they get it on Epic Games. Some drama came out later. We'll talk about that later as we go. Anybody want to follow up on that? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to be where gamers are, and that's the one good thing. Obviously, there's still some backlash that happened from it, but they were able to kind of push around it. So we'll talk about that more later.
I just like how they're pushing the envelope, man. I don't see any other. Everybody wants to stay in their silos and focus on the Web3 gamers, but Immutable's pushing the envelope for more. They're pushing it.
It's good marketing, like.
Yeah.
It is good marketing, and it also brings like safety to the environment, like the whole ecosystem, because like having to download a game from like some untrusted source or just some website or whatever is just sketchy, and that's where you get like a bunch of malware and things like that. So it brings a streamlined sense of like, hey, if I'm going to be gaming, if this is where I'm going to play Fortnite, then this is where I can go to play any other game, right? So it's good for gaming.
I just looked over at the clock. We're not quite 2 hours, but we're approaching there, and we're at the halfway point. Wow, that's just what we do here at Gamers Galaxy. Yeah, 2 hours? Yeah, I don't think so. But anyway, July.
Yeah, my kids will be getting upset.
In July, 8 games announced: Eyeball Pool, SimWin, OBS Worldle, Gamer...
OBS World.
Oh, geez, Pete. OBS World. It says... I must have printed out funny.
Yeah, but...
Galaxy Commanders, Coin Arcade, Fab Welt, Arsenal 2.0, EF Defense, and Space Nation. I am not going to lie. I don't know anything about these games except for eyeball pool. It's billiards on a gaming platform, and they're going to somehow tie it into NFTs. And Space Nation, I got to talk to them. I think that was my first podcast with Gamers Galaxie with Rubik, and that game is absolutely huge. They're going to be tying in like a video series. I think it was a cartoon series, if I'm not mistaken, to that. They have a lot going on with it. I don't think it's like Block Lords, but the amount that they're packing into it reminded me of what Block Lords is trying to do. Rubik, help me out with these other games that I have no idea about right now.
So Eyeball Pool is made by Web2 developers that have 1 billion downloads on their 8-ball game, and they're building a whole new engine, and it's about to launch in the Q1. Simwin is a fantasy NFL fantasy game platform. There's heaps of different angles. It's got a new feel in it.
Daily fantasy simulator. So that one's got my interest because it's got all sorts of backers from like Magic Johnson and all these other big sports people. So that's an interesting one. It's
also going to have a live replay in 3D of an NFL game as the fantasy. It's huge. It's not just like
they have it right now. Actually, if you go and I've played it. So if you go to their thing and you play their DFS, daily fantasy series or whatever, you can pick your team, and then at the time that the game is supposed to be played, you go to the site and you watch them do the actual plays in real time.
Oh wow. Awesome! I didn't know that's out. I thought it was just beta of the small part of it. Is it beta still, or is it fully out now?
Yeah, it's still beta, but they have it all working and stuff. It looks pretty interesting.
All right, I need to look into that and have the guys on. We had them on a podcast once. We'll have to have them. On their Spaces. Looking to getting them back on to tell us about the game. OBS World is a mobile-based racing game. Now, I've seen a lot of their videos. If their videos are of their game, I haven't looked. I'm not a massive car racing fan, so I don't look into it too much. But their graphics on that they show are amazing. So I'm not sure if that's a different game. They're just their crews are on it playing for fun, or if that's their game. But it's pretty much a Porsche fans club. But they've got more than Porsches. But that's their owner's a massive Porsche fan. I tweeted in their Discord. I posted in their Discord the link to the video of the Tesla Cybertruck towing a Porsche 911.
I remember
beating it in a quarter mile, and they deleted my message. Didn't like that very much. So yeah, sorry boys. Galaxie Commanders is one of my favorite games. It's a simple little 1v1 game where you have like some various rules, and you have spaceships, and it's 5 capital ships, and they all have couple of ports that bring in new ships that you can choose to drop, different rates and things like that. And it's like a strategical game, 1v1 spaceships, and it's very fun.
Like tower defense, but with different spaceships.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's great graphics. So I'm hoping that they've announced about 3 other chains since Immutable: Sui, Aptos, and Nia. So we'll see if they're, I got it confirmed from Immutable that they are definitely still building on Immutable. So it looks like maybe another multi-chain game.
That was one of my favorite betas that I played all year.
Yeah, it was my favorite. It was great. Rift Storm maybe. Coin Arcade is like a little mobile-based mini games, like hundreds of mini games where they've got one token that that rules the world, and they're still building. Arsenal 2.0 is Arsenal was the game they released on B&B and Fab World. They're a big studio with 4 or 5 games, and they're building on B&B, but they're bringing Arsenal 2.0 to Immutable, ZKEVM. Space Nation, you already interviewed him, talked about them. They're a space opera. They're building 5 games and 3 games. Sorry, 3 games, and their big one that's coming out this year is the MMO space opera that had really successful play tests and really successful mints. And EF Defense is a little like Toland World style game that's Japanese or Korean based. So that's coming to Immutable ZKVM as well.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Passport for Google and Apple logins officially live. I was able to try it with my Google account. It went smoothless. It was fantastic, quick, like less than a second, I think. It worked. It worked. That's all that you can say about it, is it worked, and that's what's needed. Immutable at the WebEx of Asia event. Robbie went on, like, I wouldn't say a world tour, but he went on like an Asia tour, and he said over half of the major game devs are interested or actually into Web3 games right now, and there was only one out of everybody who he talked to that was like, yeah, we're not touching it at all whatsoever. Immutable X, their main focus is Asia. If you don't know, the demographic is, if you combine the US and Europe, Asia would still be winning in gamers 3-1 in that ratio. The regulatory atmosphere is more friendly towards Web3 gaming. Japan has come out, I think it's the prime minister there, or the president, or whoever's the leader there, came out and said, yes, this is the future. We want to encourage this. So Immutable said, fine, we're going to where the majority of the people are, and we're going to where it's regulatory friendly. And thus the Asia tour that Robbie went on. Any thoughts on that at all?
Yeah. This was the start of the push for Asia from Immutable this month, I think, when they started vocally saying we're going to focus on Asia, and where you could see the games that they started signing from after this. A lot of Asian, developers.
Yeah, specifically Japan. I believe I forget which Korea it was. It was one of the Koreas. I can't remember. Sorry.
Yeah. It's never North Korea, mate. Trust me, it's never North Korea.
Yeah, I think Vietnam was a big one. Hong Kong. Those are like the big players. Obviously, Singapore, Philippines, but yeah, that area over there, they're like, yeah, you got Web3 gaming. Hey, how do we get more? And Immutable's like, yeah, we can accommodate you. Upbit market support. I believe that's an exchange in the Korean market. So more liquidity.
One.
I'm sorry, what?
It's the number one exchange in Korea.
Okay. I can't use it because I'm in the U.S. and we're not allowed freedoms, even though the U.S. is supposed to be the land of freedom, but we won't get into that. Anyway, Upbit. More liquidity to be moved around. Good stuff for
more Asia.
Yeah, more Asia. The royalties drama. I don't even know why this is drama. This is like the stupidest thing, in my personal opinion, about why there wouldn't be royalties. If people put in the work, they should be compensated it. If you don't compensate them, they're not going to have the motivation to produce things. And IMX gets that, and they said, yeah, we're supporting royalties. We don't care. Artists need to be paid, period. Anybody got thoughts on that or aside comments?
Yeah, I can't believe that people are arguing against it. Like, that's what I can't believe. Like, just pure self-serving. If I can sell my NFT without having to pay a percentage to a royalty, I'm going to get rich quicker. That's going to be the only thought process for thinking that's good. Like,
yeah, it's the pure degen. It's the pure degen play.
Do you understand that if you remove incentives, you're oh my god, just this the greed that blinds these degens is unbelievable.
We also have to remember, like, Immutables, they're not trying to cater to degens, so I don't think they really care what the degens think. To a sense, they're more for the mainstream people, and the mainstream people aren't even going to notice that there's royalties being taken for the creators. They'll probably be like, oh, well, that's standard. That has, Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yep, exactly. But there's all these arguments from these big players like Exterio and Gabriel Layden. That guy that scammed billions of dollars out of people in Gods of War. That thing they called a Web2 game. The one with Kate Upton as the advertisement for it. Mm-hmm. And they made these 721C. They're trying all the different things when Immutable's just been. It's been enforced royalties on it from the start, and it's a weakness of Ethereum and Solana and other chains that can't enforce it at the contract level, which is, I think, where it needs to be solved. Where enforcing it at the contract level where it's not possible not to pay royalties is where it needed to be saved, and I think Immutable's got a unique system that can do that. But there's always ways around it, with IT. So I'm not going to say it out loud how to do it, but there's a way around it with Immutable as well. but not the 721C that Gabriel Aiden and Exterio are enforcing.
Yeah, so last point in July, the sales ramped up at this point. This was around July 26th. They are estimating $2.5 billion in future TTV from milestones of new deals signed in 2023 alone, also exceeding targets. I think this is definitely correlated with the big push for Asia. I talked about the ratio of 3-1 gamers versus the other two countries combined for just pure flat out volume. And yeah, they're going where the money is. It's not rocket science, you know?
Yeah, that's since the Polygon partnership, the amount of sales they won to big developing games, well-funded games increased.
Right.
When did the trip in Asia happen again? It was last month, right? June?
The what, sorry?
The trip to Asia with Robbie, because around the 17th of April mark, you could see the volume really picking up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that would be the
moving
Polygon then. I thought it was because of the Asia campaign, but maybe it was a combination of both, but maybe the Polygon is what spurred it, because they did that back in March, I think. February or March. We were just talking about it too long ago. And if you're seeing that increase in April, it's probably mostly the Polygon, and then with the campaign over and rubbing shoulders with the big wigs over in Asia, it probably just added to it. So good stuff all around. Big month for July, and August looks pretty big too. And Rubik's going to take us right into August now.
Before we do, I just checked on that Twitter post that they made, and that Jonah fake expert that knows nothing about technology whatsoever but acts as if he's an expert, he posted in that thread saying, I'm going to make 2.5 billion in volume after I do my content, and no one can predict something that hasn't happened yet, like insulting Immutable's like capabilities, again. And then they had him on that podcast on Between Two Layers, and infuriated me because he's been another one of those people that are Ronin fanboys and talks highly of Ronin and their crap technology, but never speaks positively on Immutable. And then he gets interviewed on Between Two Layers, which is an Immutable focused podcast, and they ask about anything, and he avoids saying the word Immutable the whole time and talks about Ronin.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
we've had lots of conversation about this.
So that's probably not related to the actual point, but I just thought I
hear you,
because I do like to build relationships and friends with people in the community, so I thought I'd say that.
All right, August. Let's move on to August.
Here comes August. There was 9 games announced. So I'm going to go for these quicker. Metatoys Dragons and Metatoy World, same developer, different games. Little mobile games. One's a Tolan World style games. One's a collectible game. Medieval Empires. It's a MMO RTS, kind of like like a Age of Empires, but mixed with Block Lords. Rune Realm, they're in a bit of financial difficulty, I believe. They've built a casino-style gaming thing and hoping to make money from that to continue building their game. It's another Marvia, Heroes of Marvia, Clash of Clans clone that they're building. Fractalians is the one I'm pretty closely aligned with. They're building a mobile-based ARPG. Battle Derby is a mobile-based car battle game, pretty cool graphics, AAA builders. New Ganymede is one of your favorites, and it's a MMO kind of like more not an MMO mixed with an ARPG, but in 3D. And Age of Zalmoxis just went through a change of ownership, and I doubt they're going to build an Immutable still. And Amiga 99, we found out, was building an Immutable. That's a car racing game. So, what did you think about those?
I'm going to chime in real quick on New Ganymede. I have some experience with these guys. To be clear, I am a MetaKey holder. I've been in the ecosystem since they started. These guys are all about networking, which is very similar to what Immutable does. And they just want to keep pumping value into their original NFTs, and that's what spawned New Ganymede. They've put a ton of time and resources into New Ganymede. This is a major game that I'm just really looking forward to see what they do, because they have a history of rewarding their holders and just compiling more and more collabs the same way Immutable does. So I'm interested to see where they go, as I can't wait for it to come out. And the other one is what's the car game you talked about? Oh my goodness, Battle Derby. Yes,
Mega Nintendo.
Battle
Battle
Derby.
Derby.
Very cool mobile game. It's easy to pick up, fun to play. I want to see where that one goes to.
Yeah, Battle Derby's CEO. I had him on for an AMA on Twitter. He's a really nice guy. Teaches blockchain over at Oxford University. He's a lot of connections with a lot of who is it? Apple, and he's a lot of experience, and it is a very fun game to play. I downloaded it for the daughter. She's playing it all the time on my phone. And then another game I like here is Medieval Empires, which I've been playing religiously every day.
It's good, is
it's
it?
a slow burn. Medieval Empires.
Good.
It's a slow.
Oh.
It's good, yeah, but you have to like this type of game. It's a slow burn. It's like do you ever play like Clash of Clans on your phone?
Yeah, of course.
It's sort of like that. You have to build your settlement. You're constantly work. They've recently came out with their me to play, so you have to kill so many invaders to get up on the leaderboard. And I think like the top 10 get some tokens or whatever. I haven't been. I'm not that online. I'm not as active as I could be to win that. I think you have to be online like 24 hours a day. But
Is it
yeah,
free
it's
to
a fun
play?
game. What's that?
Is it free to play?
Yeah, it's free to play.
Okay.
It's free to play.
I
Well,
thought
you
me
need to
to
own
play.
land. You need to own land. So if you know someone who owns land, they can get you in to play.
Okay.
You know. So and
Wonder-
then you play. Go ahead.
So, do I know anyone on this panel that owns land?
I can get you in.
All right, I like
I
those
can
kind of
get you
games.
in.
I
Yeah,
spent
yeah, I
thousand
get
dollars
you.
in it's $1,000 in 3 years running a clan in Clash of Clans. That was in a war competition. You know those third party competitions.
Yeah.
It was the MLCW, the second tier one, which we came close to
Yeah.
winning a couple of times. So yeah,
It's a fun game. I can see it's going to be very addictive. Like, I can't wait to. There's not much to do now, but I think as time goes on, they'll bring in more events like kill, deathmatch events. You know, like, and that can get you more ways to win more tokens and stuff. So it's going to be a fun game. I say it's going to be a very addictive game. So yeah, I'll get you in. I'll talk to the
Awesome.
guy that got me in.
Metatoy Dragons is a Korean builder from Sandbox Games, which is like they've got $250 million or something in funding. So they're huge, and one of the first wins that were from the Asia push. And I played it. It's been playable right now. Metatoy Dragons. It's like you collect these little dragons, and it's like a 5 vs 5 auto battler. Yeah, if you're interested in those collector games, it's free to play. You can get on and download it. It's not on Immutable yet. It's on Polygon. Sorry, it's not. I think it's going. It's on not on chain yet, but it'll go on to Immutable ZK AVM. Moving on, unless someone else has got something to say on the games, but Wagme Games
No,
launched.
no, I got it. I
Wagme
got
Games
everything
launched-
covered. I think.
Okay, cool. Wagme Games launched on Google Play Store. Sorry, our region is being in 3 different regions of the world. We're talking over each other here a bit. Sorry about that to the audience. Bit delayed speech. Wagme Games launched on Google Play Store, so it's closed beta, so you can't just go on the Google Play Store, but you can download it from there once you got a code. We can go into that later. GOG demo, beautiful corner. So that was the first look at GOG after the redirection in just 8 months of coding. What do you think of this one, WT?
Looked really good, very addictive, fun to play. I really liked how they incorporated the music. They changed up the music to really engage players. That's one thing I noticed. Most people will overlook that, but I thought it was a big part of it. The UI, UX was definitely improved. They're going in the right direction, and that's what matters.
Yeah. Okay. That was the first look at the new look. I was surprised that it would be fun. What did you think of it, D'Souza?
Yeah, it was good. I played in all of their betas, and it was obviously like the most polished. They had like the endless dungeon that made it pretty interesting to see how far you could get. It was overall a great experience. Can't wait for more. I think the next beta is going to be for Canada only.
Yeah.
Real quick, we might have an in for some information. I'm working on that.
Cool. So beautiful corner demo really showed what this direction was the right direction, in my opinion. Especially considering the RPG was so boring that they built, Stepico built. So I was surprised. I enjoyed it. Moving on. Sorrow. This one I added because it was kind of like first time I really saw Sorrow speak in public like this, and I just went. He was invited to Gamescom in Cologne through a competitor, Saga, which is building a really unique blockchain that they invited Bryson, and Bryson goes on about him all the time. Spikes now an advocate for them. I haven't seen them. They've few games they've said they're building on them, but they're not really. Like they're kind of like just doing a little, like a little part of their game, or just a little demo built on their chain. But what their chain is they once a day they put all the chain data onto the chain, and it's done through an optimistic roll up. But it gets 1,000 TPS or unlimited TPS based on. It's kind of very unique. It's not like anything else, but it's not really on chain in my opinion. But the founders actually engaged with me, and they're pretty passionate about what they've built. So it'd be interesting to see what they come up with, if they can get market traction, if they're not too late. But they somehow they believe that they can partner with the big chains. So they had AVAX and Immutable there speaking. And what my main point was, Sorrow just so good a speaker. He was very articulate, very well spoken, and I just went, I can see that because I'm an ex-salesperson, and I could just see that smart kind of brain working overtime and saying the right things, but just being able to articulate things very well. And in the sales process, that being able to get points across real quickly and not like me and waffle on forever, it's really it's really important. And so I was impressed by that. I thought that was worth mentioning. G'day, Shara, if you're listening.
Yeah, I want to throw in real quick. I was 95% wrong about Andrew Sorrow speaking at 3XP. I knew he spoke somewhere, and I thought it was 3XP. I was wrong. It was here. This is the one I meant to say. So, yeah, I was 95% wrong.
I didn't know. I thought he was at 3XP as well. Yeah, he's been a few places now, but I've only seen him speak once, and that was there. Anyone else got anything to say on that, or we're moving on to the next one? So the testnet, ZKVM testnet, was announced. With 1K signups from games and 90,000 transactions and 12K unique wallets within the first very short period. So yeah, bit of uptake from the start of I'm sure a lot of people was checking to see what developers having a look at it, see what it's all about. But yeah, that was finally. Was that the one, D'Souza, you and I were dying for to guessing on when it was going to come out?
Yeah, that was the one.
And you won the bet, didn't you? You got it down to 2 days, 2 days or something. One day.
I called the actual day.
Did
Wow.
you? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but it was like a relief for finally that it's out. Like, even though it's not for the consumer again, it's more for the developer, but it's progress. And we were like, both finally something wasn't a pure announcement. It actually happened.
Yeah, I was like, I said it would be out by the 15th or something, and on that day, the 15th, they actually released it.
That's right. That's right. You said the first half, but you said it'll be out by the 15th, and I said, okay, if it's out before it, you win it. If it's out after it, I win the bet. And it was like it came out on the day of the cutover.
Yeah.
But I thought you'd say something there, WT, with the pure announcements comment, but no, I didn't get any.
Yeah. I mean, what are you gonna say? I mean, just the haters. They're everywhere. That's why they don't talk about Immutable unless they want to say something negative. We're talking about Mr. Barron, who lives rent free in your head, and the guy that rhymes with Raggy and his absorbent fees and Pamp and Damps and pure announcements. But here we are talking almost 3 hours into pure announcements of quality. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
Yeah, Immutable Passport case study came out. That was the user acquisition benefits from not losing users when they get to the wallet stage was more than double their retention rate, which is amazing.
Yes.
Anyone got to add to that?
Good numbers.
1.7 million active wallets was announced in Immutable per month. So that's across all games and products and everything. So that's it. I got a number just the other day. It's 1.9 now. So it's grown by 200,000 users on the platform since then. And that's without any games releases. So pretty crazy. Anyone got something to add on to that? No. Otherwise, move on. That's the Cross the Ages. Sells the NFT for 130K. Already spoken about that. Shardbound playtest. This is the sleeper. It was a sleeper game for a while. It's kind of grown recently in the since after this date. But yeah, this is I really gone. Okay, this game's gonna be so much fun when I played the playtest.
Definitely in one of the top tiers of the Immutable platform. Cross the Ages, Shardbound. They're up there. Probably in the top 5. I gotta say, something like that.
Yeah, it's in my out of 200 games, 150 games I had on a list. I've ranked them for me personally, which will come out with the content later on. It's in the top 5 for me. And moving on, Gamescom, just the bus was super cool. The visuals of it, the aesthetics of it, just the memorability of it. I don't know if you remember what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah,
the 5 games that were being tested there, just really a set of immutable marketing coming through.
Infinite Victory, Metalcore were on there. I can't remember who else, but yeah, I'm telling you, Immutable networking, marketing, they got it locked down.
Yeah. Cool. Moving on. The 12,000. I don't know why I've got that twice, but we'll move on. The Bornless went number 1 on the Steam most anticipated games, which is pretty crazy. That was. There's been a few other games do well, but never number 1. So that'll be interesting. They're gonna come out with a Web 2 game as well as a Web 3 game. So we'll see how when the Web 2 guys find out that it's a Web 3 game as well. Wonder if they're will stay. You see a lot of games on Steam that release like Superior. There's a couple other ones that come out that have nothing to do with Web 3 but are on Web 2. And then when they find out they're on Web 3, the bad reviews come through in droves. So it'll be interesting to see if that continues.
I feel like they have a lot of potential. Bornless, they just haven't hit their stride yet. I like the feel of it. I like the look. The kind of scary theme, but it's still an FPS. I like it.
The thing about the Bornless thing is the way they did their beta is like you had to have someone to join a game with. Like you couldn't just go and search in an open lobby. You had to like join an already created game, which made it way too limited. So you're basically going to try to find someone in their Discord to play with, and it became too much of a headache for me. I like that they use Unreal Engine 5 and all that stuff, but it became more of a task to find someone to play with than to actually just get in there and play a game like you wanted to do.
Yeah, that's a great point, because these games, they got to watch for that, especially in the space. There's limited people that are playing. Infinite Victory, the co-CEO talked about that he won't release more advanced game modes because people are just going to be sitting waiting in a lobby, and it's going to kill your game if you do that. So you got to set up your games so that you can get into the action quick with which people you have available. I think he called it people liquidity or something like that.
Yeah, and the Warwicks did the same thing with Illuvium. They're like, we don't want to release this, auto battler just like this when we can't play against anyone. And then finally they're like, okay, fine, we'll do this auto battler in a portion of the overworld release, and people liked it, right? But even Kieran was like, I don't like playing it. I want to play against someone real. I don't want to play against AI. I want to play against a person that I can know that I just kicked their ass.
Nice. All right. Moving on to the September to Remember games announced. 11 El Jefe Football. That's the football management one, I believe, on Immutable. Siege Builders, Clash of Legends, Auto Legends, Rift Wardens. You guys talked about that earlier a little bit. Planet Pals, Lusa. I believe that's the big one you and I talked about, Rubik. I'm a little fuzzy on that one. Yaku Corp, Dream Quest, Sail Wars, which reminds me a lot of Sea of Thieves on Web 2, if you know what that game is, and World Challenge Game. 11 in September. That's a lot, man.
Yeah, Sail Wars was pretty cool. It is a lot like Sea of Thieves.
just a little bit more kind of dumbed down at the moment in terms of graphics, but I think the interactions are go a little bit further than even Sea of Thieves, so pretty cool one.
Yeah, this one's El Jefe is made by the same, by Metalcore, the same developers, Studio 369. Siege Builders, I wonder if they're still building. They were pretty vocal on Twitter and that, and all of a sudden it's gone quiet. So they're also building like a competitor to Elixir and a launch studio around Web3, NFTs and stuff like that. I think it's called GameSpot or something. Game something. Auto Legends is a AAA graphics wise. I'm not sure about the team that building it. Is in terms of graphics, really high quality graphics, like Gran Turismo level graphics. It looks awesome. Car collection, update your car, like get in there, be a mechanic, all that kind of stuff, like real metaverse style car game. Rift Wardens. This is the a logos game. We already knew about it, but was officially announced here. That's my NFT was. Planet Pals is a Cardano game called Reign of Titans. They've rebranded, and they announced Immutable, and then now they keep talking about Cardano. So interesting to see what they're doing there. Are they trying to garner support from Immutable's player base to get? I don't know. We'll see if they come out Immutable as well, multi-chain. Lusa is like a AAA graphics shooter. I'm pretty excited by it. It's open
Was this
world,
a sleeper or a big one? I remember you talking to me about this one.
It's under the radar, but they're big degens style marketing kind of angles. They're all on tokens, but it's like a Destiny style MMO, first person shooter. There's more to it. I can't remember now off the top of my head. There's so many games to research to bring up all this information. Yaku Corp's building on Solana, but they're big on. They love Passport. They've done a whole big tweet on Passport, and a couple of people have called out it's a Solana game, and I've gone into tweets and said no, it's also an Immutable game, and they've liked that comment, and they follow me. So I'm pretty sure they're building on Immutable as well as Solana. So we'll see what happens there. Just the tools on Solana aren't there for gaming. They don't have the Immutable level support for games developers. There's a few other like. Star Atlas has built a SDK for Unreal Engine, which they let everyone use. Which is that how much energy has gone into that? Where Immutable's building one specifically for gaming, ongoing, constantly getting updated. And, so you're going to see more and more. Who would you rather? Someone that's dedicated to building a SDK for Unreal Engine on, or someone that's built it for their game and you're allowed to use it. Which one's better? Dream Quest is like an adventure game on mobile. Looks pretty cool. Star Wars you talked about. World Challenge Games is a board game. It looks like it's got a real actual physical game. So it looks pretty cool. And they're exclusive Immutable and coming out this year.
Awesome.
That's all.
Yeah. We got more Asia conventions, Asia shows. Robbie and people from the Immutable team showing up in Korea Blockchain Week. Token 24 Singapore. That was a pretty big one. I know Dark Machine was there for sure. We talked to them about that. Tokyo Game Show. It's the campaign of Immutable to secure contacts and networks in Asia. Gods Unchained sealed mode. I don't know a ton about Gods Unchained, but from what I could tell, sealed mode it's a mode that focuses on deck building with limited resources and being able to play no matter what limitations your deck might have. So maybe that caters to people that are kind of new to the game, or do I got that wrong?
It is kind of. I mean, it's for basically anyone that wants to play. There's basically a minimum buy-in. You spend like I think it's 10 gods, and you get certain number of cards that you build a deck from. I grew up playing Magic the Gathering, so this is like a style we would play where, you go to the card shop and they open up a box, you get a certain number of packs that you get to build a deck from. It's fun because in this, it doesn't matter which god you're playing with. You can play any of the gods. Doesn't matter. And you try to build like the best synergy. and win as many games as possible out of, I believe it's 7 matches. If you win all 7, you get a higher quality prize. I think 0.01% of the prizes is like a new play mat type style, and it's super rare. So a bunch of really cool prizes that you can win from that play mode.
Gotcha.
Yes, I'd say it's the opposite. It's more for professional, experienced players. It brought a lot of old Gods Unchained players back to the. I think it was 1,600 new players came back to play because of sealed mode, and that's before mobile, which releases this month in January. So it's going
Finally.
to be, yeah, that's going to be the. I think we'll see numbers back in the 50, 60,000 daily players once that mobile comes out. You'll see.
Yeah, once they get something that's mobile, because like you have like Hearthstone and stuff like that people are dedicated players. They make thousands and thousands of dollars a year just dedicated to streaming that game, and now those types of players will be able to come over and play Gods Unchained, and you'll see a huge resurgence of people playing that game.
Yeah, I was his best man at his wedding, so he's probably my best friend. Sorry, I was the best man at his wedding, and he is a Hearthstone player, tweets every day about it, and he's just said to me, "I'll play it when it's on mobile." So I've got now he wouldn't do it, even though he's got Neo tokens and a MetaMask wallet. He just doesn't understand it, and he bought into Neo, and he's a bit of a gambler type of character. He loves Hearthstone so much, and he loves but he won't play Skyweaver, even though it's his favorite Web3 game, because it's just, even though it's on mobile, because it's just too much arsing around with wallets and stuff. Now as Passport, I've got him to play WAGMI. He's playing WAGMI every day, and he says once, and I said to him, you can play Gods on mobile on a, we can get it onto a mobile for you through a browser. He said, no, I can't be, I don't want to do that. So he just wants to tell me when it's out on mobile, I'll play it. So he's waiting to play Gods Unchained on mobile once it releases. There's one player, Web2 player. So yeah, long-winded way of saying I've got a mate that will play it once it's on mobile. Sorry, boys. Carry on.
Fine. No, that's fine. It's all good. It's all good. Next up, we've got Metatoy Dragons Beta. This definitely somewhere over in Asia. It's a Metatoy Dragon Z. No, Metatoy Dragon Z P2E.
No.
No?
Sorry, I thought you said Dragon Z, like Dragon Z, Dragon Ball Z, whatever it is. I thought you were going to say that.
No,
it's that sound. Yeah.
Metatoy Dragon Z. Do I get it wrong?
No, man. Sorry.
Okay. I thought
cut me out. Cut this out.
No, okay. It's based on generative pixel art. We see lots of these style of games in the Web3 space. They seem to be very popular. I don't know a lot about this one. It's got 23,000 followers. It's a pixel game. It looks like it's kind of got like an open world aspect to it, maybe. So
yeah, it's got a big following in Korea. Korean style, pixel game. They finally released their beta and stuff, so I think it's kind of like almost like a side scroller style look to it, and look and feel to it. So collect different dragons and stuff like that.
Are you talking about Metatoy World? Because Metatoy World is, have I got them around the wrong way? Metatoy World is the one where you run around and
that's the side scroller one. Toy Dragons is the same company, but
yeah,
different thing where that you're collecting dragons, right?
I thought
it's like a 5v5 thing.
Yeah, okay. I didn't think that was pixelated. Well, the home base isn't. Maybe it is a bit pixelated, but the side scroller is the pixelated one, I thought. Anyway.
Maybe I'm mixing parts of both of them together.
You think if you create two different games, you just give it two different names, wouldn't you?
Yeah. We have a hard enough time keeping with all these games, and then they're making them close, which is making it even harder. I mean, come on, guys, work with us.
Yeah.
Passport user acquisition. This was they kicked it out to 7,000 players that were given the passport, and they used the traditional email for wallet conversions. and the players were twice more than likely to convert with the passport. Just some raw numbers on passport acquisition. We know what passport is, but this is just what was happening in September.
They're doubling up on data. They really like this fact, and we've pushed it out in August and in September in different tweets. So,
right.
Yeah.
And then moving on into October, games announced. Only 9 this month instead of 11. Still a lot. One Tap, we talked to them from Corey World. It's the FPS with pets involved. Very, very cool concept. John was an absolute gem on our podcast. Tides of Fate. That's not the same one. I think I'm confusing this one with someone else. We'll talk about that later. Avalon, I've heard about that. Dormant, that is the sleep to earn game, if you want to call it that. They've some way tokenized sleeping. I actually know somebody that advises on that product there, Nick from GOG, if you know who that is. The Last Monarchy, the Fiches, that is a quirky fiche game. I remember talking about that one, but it's eluding me right now. Space Mavericks, Data 2073, Magaland. Yeah, okay, that's the 9. That's the 9 we got right there. Tides of Fate. Was that the one that we talked to?
No, it's Gods and Chains expansion.
Yeah,
Did
it's
we
an
include that?
expansion for Gods of Chain.
That's what it is. Okay. I remember seeing it. I was like, why do I remember this?
So One Tap was already announced. We knew about it, but it was officially announced. Tides of Fate's not really a game, so it's really only 7, isn't it? Avalon's that multi-chain from Wax. Yeah, you've covered everything. Lost Monarchies, MMORTS. They've got their closed beta, 50 players playing it right now. The Fishes is a Vive, the collector's game. It's a game part of Vive through the Vive universe where you collect fish and they've got a whole world going to be built out of this like actual PvP style game as well. Space Mavericks is a mix of worms and a strategical game as well, like on the map, progressing further down the line. Data 2073, Brazilian developers, is a TCG, but also 3D world or something. I don't know. I should look into it more, but it's coming soon, and it looks really cool. Really unique graphics. The first-person shooter style games we're seeing coming out across all chains seem like copies of each other, where this was a really unique look on a TCG. Very unique take on it. So it'll be interesting to follow that one. Mergoland's that financial literacy app that's it's alive now as well.
Right. I remember that one. Okay. All right. Immutable was voted number 1 startup 2 years in a row. I believe that was the Australian LinkedIn award, if I'm not mistaken. We talked about that in our podcast not too long ago. It's an award. Hey, we'll take it. Is it the most prestigious award? Maybe not, but we'll take it. An award is an award. First Immutable Hero Spotlight was our very own Rubik. I think that's very well deserved. The amount of content that you put out, it's very well articulated. It's very concise. It's very informative, and you're doing so many different things. Yeah, that was a no-brainer choice by Immutable. Pat, grass to you. Pat yourself in the back. If you don't know who Rubik is, that's the guy that I talk to all the time.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, they haven't done another one since, have they?
I think 2 others. I think I've seen 2 others. At least one. I've seen at least one other, if not 2.
Yeah, well, I was wondering if it was an underwhelming response, so they didn't do it again. I thought maybe I don't know how I didn't catch it if they did do another one, but yeah, thank you to Immutable for recognizing me.
Too much blowback. How they let this asshole get it?
Yeah, all the Roman guys are pissed off.
Anyway, thank you to Immutable for giving me that honor of being
all the Ronin maxis got all crazy and they started botting the post.
Yeah.
Next announcement. This was absolutely huge. Nobody else talked about it except for us and Carly. The AWS partnership. It wasn't just we're using AWS servers. This is well beyond this. They were actually getting game leads for them and then supplying them with the platform for any games that came to Amazon and wanted Web3 services. Huge partnership. I can't express that enough. Any thoughts on that, guys?
I was
Gods
hoping
and
to see.
Chain utilizes that too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's eyeball pool. I wanted to hear. I'm not sure if you're prepared for this, D'Souza, but it was part of it is Immutable changing their architecture to an event-driven architecture to match the step functions in which is very code heavy. Understand people that understand code will understand that.
Yeah. It actually incentivized people to actually come over and use it. So they were actually giving like money incentives to games to come over and use that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100K credits is a huge amount.
That's huge.
Yeah.
It's a lot. That's like your whole development costs of AWS potentially. So you can run all your on-chain, sorry, not on-chain, but all your anything that like account services, anything that uses a database costs. A lot of the costs that come with the development is the testing to run those services in AWS.
Right. So anytime you're trying to like hook in any of these services, like they call them hooks, right? And anytime you go to do that, that's development time. And if you have all of that, that money to aid in that, then like at least the first year of your service that you're doing that is already covered.
Yeah, maybe more. Maybe until you get to release.
I just want to point out,
possible.
I just want to point out, Avalanche is working with them too. I don't know what capacity, if it's the same scale as what Immutable is doing. Maybe they are. I mean, they talked about it a little bit, but like, if you made this announcement on like Ronin Chain or Solana, like Kagi would have been doing his typical blowjob pick for about this announcement, and Paul Barron would have probably taken it off his shirt live on air, rubbed his nipples about this over Solana, and but Immutable says it like this is like a substantial partnership. It's not just we're using their servers, and nobody's talking about it besides us and between two layers, and it just blows me away because this is a major announcement, not just for Immutable. It's a major announcement for the Web3 space. We want these partnerships into the mainstream, and they're breaking that barrier down, and people are just like, ho hum, you're not making my token go up, so screw you. And it just
and that's the thing. I think the majority of the degen-y people and things like that, and just regular laymen don't understand what it means.
Right.
And that's part of the thing. Like, unless you're a developer that understands what these services are and what they actually provide, it's hard to understand. And I think some people that don't understand it fully think that it's centralizing the actual blockchain, but it's not. It's actually it's allowing for you to make these calls to services and things that are on the blockchain and it has to do with the underneath the hood of the game itself, not necessarily blockchain portion or the NFT portion of your game at all.
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
Amen.
The only games that won't be excited by this are fully on-chain games, ones that are 100% on-chain, that there's a very small niche people that think that's the future. It doesn't make sense. It's those games will be niche and fun, and I might try one day, but it's not the future of Web3 gaming. There's a mix of blockchain and back-end services that you need, and sometimes it makes sense to be on the blockchain, and most of the time it makes sense to be on a back-end service. So the competitors are Google and Azure, which is Microsoft.
Yeah, Azure.
This Google GCP, I think it's called, Google Cloud Player something, but it's more than that with Immutable. It was actual AWS building specific tools. So for example, right now you can go to AWS and say, I want an S3 bucket to store my stuff. Yeah. You don't build that S3 bucket. AWS builds that bucket so that you can just push one line of code and use that S3 bucket. AWS is building event-driven architecture services that games will be able to use services that are built for blockchain games.
Yeah, otherwise you're stuck building. Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, you're stuck building your own Kubernetes clusters and nodes to do all this shit, and then having to build the services in to handle it. With this, it's all plug and play.
Yep.
Yeah. AWS, Amazon is building the tools so that you don't have to. Therefore, your costs to deliver are less. Again, another reason why 250 games have chosen Immutable. That people do not understand how big this is. It is huge. And then also, which we haven't mentioned, is that the AWS team, sales team, when they're giving intros to the Immutable team to say, hey, these guys are the premium site to build on, come and build your game on blockchain through Immutable. That's
They're
just
incentivized.
win.
That's huge.
They are
It's huge.
incentivized to bring games to them. So what do you think
That's
they're going to
huge
do?
marketing.
They're going to get paid to bring games to them. So more games for
Yeah.
Immutable. Huge announcement.
They've got
I think that maybe that's why what's his name, who was the solutions engineer, left Immutable. He's like, these AWS guys are taking my job.
I didn't even know that.
Is that Steve Green?
Steve, yeah.
My job just got taken away. Oh no.
Yeah, is that what it
Cue the
was?
South Park clip. They took our germs.
All right. So I
Anyway.
think we nailed the AWS partnership. WagMe Tower Defense, first mobile game title with Passport. WagMe has just been kicking ass lately. I don't know if you guys have been watching. Their NFTs are selling for ridiculous money. Probably, if not top 5 in Immutable's platform, they're definitely in the top 10. I don't know where to rank them at. I'll be interested to see Rubik's rankings here soon. Any thoughts on that, being then the first with Passport?
We talked about it already.
Oh.
Susan and I on a few meetings. In previous podcasts.
Oh, okay.
We talked about it. How I had tried to get their social login to work, and on my part, followed their A4 spreadsheet on how to do it, and it failed for some reason. I was like, I can't be bothered. Next thing you know, they announced Passport. The next thing you know, it's actually released now, and I just sent them a Discord message saying, hey, I've got this problem. How do I get my Passport to work? They said, just tell me your email address. Bang. 2 minutes later, I had all my NFTs in my new Passport account. Yes, I was reset to 0 rank and had to start again, but all my NFTs were there, and I've been able to sell NFTs on the marketplace with ease without logging on the same login to WagMe as Token Trove. So easy. It's game over.
Nice. Next up, Planet Quest. I forgot about these guys. I got like free NFTs from them like 2 years ago or something like that. I completely forgot about it. I'm looking through these bullet points. I was like, oh yeah, Planet Quest. I don't know what they're doing anymore. They had a cool little storyline for you to follow in their Discord and be a part of their community. I don't know. It's another space game. Has anybody got any good information on these guys?
Yeah, I don't really know anymore. I did some voice acting stuff for their one of their characters actually early on. They've been dragging this storyline on for a very long time, looking for some actual gameplay updates. Haven't seen anything in that regard for quite some time. Still have high hopes for it. I own one of the planets and a couple other things from them. Just
Didn't
hopefully they start putting some more updates out about the game itself.
Didn't they do like $60 or $70 million in sales?
It's crazy how much they did. Plus, and they're still trading a bunch of stuff too. So I mean, there's a lot of residual from royalties and things of that nature as well. So
I played their very first game, and it was pretty average, to be honest with you. Like, it was like this character running backwards on a top-down 2D style thingo, and I couldn't beat it. I played for a couple of hours, and that's enough for me. But it was like pre-alpha, nowhere near what.
It was very sandboxy, and they were like, this isn't indicative of any of the future gameplay, and so I was like, okay, I'll let it go, and kind of moved on. And really, all I keep seeing is the story update, and I'd rather
a lot of people
see
into it.
Yeah,
a lot of people.
I mean,
love
I'm sure there are. It's just not. It's not my thing. I'm not here for manga.
It was in the top first 5 games announced on Immutable, so they've been around a long time, building for a long time.
They have.
See what they come out with.
I forgot about them. I was like, oh yeah, that's right, these guys.
The Outpost. I didn't play it. Did anyone play the Outpost update, or was that just the shooting thing again? Nope. Okay.
No, I don't.
No idea. No idea.
Yeah.
Right. One
Sorry,
tap.
coming a bit lacking information there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One Tap, we talked to them recently. It's an FPS. They've got pets involved where the pets give you buffs on the side. Each pet has their own individual buffs. They're going to have like 2,000 pets over the course of the game. Each pet does a little bit different something, and the pets are limited. So if you want to get them, you got to get them quick. Otherwise, you're going to be out of luck with those pets. We got to talk to John, very cool guy. He's been in the space for a while, had some kind words to say about Immutable X. He's been on like 12 different chains. 12 different chains, and he was like, nah, IMX is the one to be with. So that was good to hear from him. And yeah, Rubik's loading up on their NFTs. They're super cheap right now, like 30 cents or something like that, aren't they, to grab those?
Nah, it's a bit more than that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like you can get a 30-40 cent egg, but you can't get all three for the same price. The one that's been sold is the least for sale, like the least amount for sale is like usually $2 or $3. So you can get like a pet for $4 or $5. If you get lucky and wait, you might get lucky and get one for $1 or $2. But the pets are worth $10 each. So
that's not bad.
Yeah,
That's not bad at all.
I got the panther or whatever, and I think like the squid or whatever is like the most rare or whatever. It does. I saw it in game. It like blinds your opponents for a certain amount of time. It's pretty OP. But yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Asia focus
They
ramp.
were actually a completely different. Actually, in a side note, they were completely a different game to start off with. There was something called Corby World, and it was kind of like a Pokemon style game. And then like it got barely any traction, and then they went into this.
I was wondering what happened with that.
Corby World.
Yeah,
Corby World is the parent company. They're like Core Gaming. And they're actually still building that. They're building 3 games, but this is the one that
I think they announced that they like stopped it though, because like
Did
Corby
they?
World, because like they had a beta of Corby World, which I started playing, and then like
Is that
a few
Solana?
weeks, on Immutable.
Really?
Yeah, because I started playing it, or I downloaded it and everything, and then like a few weeks after that, they announced that they had stopped it. But anytime since I was like already in it, they said, "Hey, you can join as a like ambassador program to be in One Tap, right?" So so I played that, and I was like, "Okay, this is pretty fun." And then they integrated the pets from Corby World to One Tap.
Oh well.
Because that's where the eggs came from, was part of Corby World. When you look it up on Token Trove, it used to be under Corby World.
That's what I thought.
For the eggs.
That's what I thought. I was confused when they were talking about One Tap. When we were talking, I was like, man, I thought this was a different game. And I was kind of confused, but
they
I didn't bring it up.
They changed the category, and they changed the name of the game to One Tap.
Okay. Makes sense. All right. Good information, man. Good information. The Asia focus ramp up continues. They see a substantial social increase. It just reminds me of like if you know who the Brady Bunch is from us U.S. idiots. Marsha. I just changed it to for Robbie. Asia. And yeah, that's what the focus is. Asia. Let's get it. Let's get those gamers. There's a lot of them out there. Any thoughts on the social increase? Anybody?
Yeah, it's gonna be much bigger too, with the full release of ZK EVM, with the full release of Passport, and mobile gaming, because mobile gaming is huge in Asia. It's just everywhere. Everyone's doing it. It's incredible. I was just over there in China and stuff like that. Even they're playing mobile games like crazy. So I think that's an untapped territory to be able to get some new players.
Yeah.
So like, sorry, Rubik.
No, you go, mate.
Like even like I think mobile gaming, like the revenue it brings in is huge with microtransactions. It's massive, so I think it's going to be huge for Immutable with going into Asia for these mobile games. It's just a big market that hasn't really been tapped into yet. You know?
Yeah. And China has a law against creating blockchains. So you would see a lot harder challenges for blockchains to win Chinese games, because they're very territorial and stay on their own kind of ecosystems. So it's very smart for Immutable focus on China, which they have. You'll see a fair few games coming up in the next 6 months as well, built in China, based
Oh,
nation in
and
China.
they use VPNs like crazy over there, so it's like they all know how to get around it. It's as well. It's like an unspoken thing. So I mean,
Yeah, I'm
it's
sure.
like
But I
yeah.
mean, the actual blockchain, games developers they're allowed to build the games on the blockchain, but they're not allowed to build on a Chinese blockchain because they're banned now. So that's why you're
Right.
seeing a lot of the Chinese games built on Immutable and other chains, because which traditionally Chinese build on Chinese things. You know, they stick to they're very territorial. They stick to their own brands, and that's why you're seeing a lot of opportunity with Chinese market games built out of China.
Awesome information, guys.
Exciting.
We are rolling into the third hour. Gamer Galaxy. It's a galaxy of huge information, so we just got to keep going here. Partnership with Emerge Singapore based Martech. I have no idea what this is about. You guys are gonna have to help me on this one.
So it's again focused on the Asian thing. That Emerge is a Singapore-based marketing technology company. So to get reach to gamers in the Asian market, so this is a partnership with Emerge that Immutable's signed. So a lot of criticisms from, like you said, from Undead Blocks and another company that hasn't actually put anything on MPL has said. I've seen them say that this marketing thing that Immutable talked about hasn't come to fruition like they promised. Well, this is part of what they're promising, what these games will have access to. It didn't happen straight away, but it's starting to happen now. Now it's ready. Now the tech's ready. So, you might see a lot more happier customers going forward, after this comes live and, they start to use these different... We've seen a lot more after this announcement as well.
Just some growing pains.
With marketing companies. They just didn't do it too early. They didn't blow their load on a multi-million dollar partnership for one game that's got one game loop.
Right.
It's or a game that hasn't actually done any releases on Immutable yet and complaining about Immutable's marketing sort of things. Hello, if you want to have the access to some services, how about you build some things on those services?
Right. No, I agree with that. Very good points. GOG family and friends playtest. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit earlier. The game was addictive. D'Souza talked about the endless dungeon, which was a nice twist. I was actually playing that wrong, and I found out later from Rubik that there was an exploit. I wasn't even using it. I was doing it the hard way. It was fun, man. It was fun to compete in that tournament, and you could see from the bare bones, because it was bare bones of what they're doing, the roguelite RPG, of how it could suck you in. And the one thing that I loved, while I was watching hockey, I was playing it and not having to focus on it. While I was at my dentist's office, I snuck in a quick dungeon run. It's very quality of life compliant, and it's fun to play. So I think it was a success for what it was. They definitely need to build off it. They need more things in it, and we're going to see what happens here, hopefully sometime this year.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into GOGs again. Other than my account stopped working, and the stats would have been better, I think, if there wasn't bugs in the logging in process. People would have just got to the point where, you know what, I had enough fun for now. I'll worry about it later. So the stats they put out were probably lower than what they could have actually had based on that. There's a bug. Yeah. Moving on. November. Let's power through these last 2 months. We'll try to. There's 10 games. So Arcbound, which is really exciting. IRPG game. Galactico Manager, which kind of weird. They're multi-chain. So we'll see if they do actually ever come under Immutable. Another one of those games may have been farming community. A competitor to El Jefe, I assume. Blade of God X. This one is exciting. Exclusive ZK EVM. Big IP. ARPG on mobile. AAA graphics. AAA builders. 5 million gamers in their community. So it'd be interesting to see if they can punch out some quantity content that gets that 5 million Immutable gamers. Citizen Conflict. It's a B&B game, but they're coming to Immutable. Not sure if they're coming multi-chain or transferring over, but they built a pretty cool IOP with 15,000 gamers daily playing it. Curstone is I think we talked about them already, did we? No, this is another Brazilian developer. Really cool graphics, adventure game. Space Falcon, they're multi-chain. They're going all on about Solana all of a sudden. So who knows if they're really coming to Immutable. Rave Racing is a pretty cool arcade-style racing game. They're building on Venom. Never heard of them until that day. But yeah, they've also started being a lot more Immutable focused on their marketing recently. So I believe they are coming to Immutable, ZK EVM. Genso Kishi, multi-chain. They're Immutable, Polygon ZK EVM chains. Skysverse is Polygon ZPOS, but they're probably going to build on ZK EVM as well. And Ponchix is a Turkish game. Our friends at Yoda Labs are involved with these guys. We found out about them a long time ago, but they announced it in November. What are your thoughts on the games, guys?
Citizen Conflict, man. Let's go. I like that game a lot. Yeah. I want him to come to Immutable, stay on it, and thrive on it. That's all I got to say about it.
Yeah, it looks awesome, Citizens Conflict. I think that's going to be one of the ones to possibly bring in mass adoption. I'm taking that gamble with that one. I think they will. They're a great looking game. Sort of reminds me of like what is it, Destiny, and Overwatch. Sort of like a mixture of that. Pretty fun looking.
Yeah, they've got a lot of people playing the game already on their alpha test or beta test. So it'll be interesting to see how they can grow. You got any comments on those games, D'Souza? What are you looking forward to in those ones?
Yeah, I think the most promising of them is definitely Citizen Conflict. It's already available from, what is it, the Epic Games Store, or is it?
Yeah, you can get it on Epic Games.
Yeah, Epic Games Store. They have done a good job of already running some tournaments. They've already done a good job of patching a bunch of bugs and quality of life updates and things like that. They've shown that they can make these turnarounds quickly, so it looks like they have a sizable dev team working on it as well, which is pretty big, especially when it comes to shooters. People are pretty outspoken about bugs and things like that. So
interesting. I think Blade of God is the sleeper one here. It's another Asian, Korean or Japanese mobile game. I really think it's going to be one of the chances of a massive hit. To be honest with you, it's the third version of their first and second version, which grew player base each one. So interesting to see those ones. Moving on, Robbie, he was on CNBC for 11 minutes for a pretty cool talk, mainstream kind of angle. What did you think of that one? You watched that, WT?
Hashtag Ferguson Factor. There's a reason why these guys are getting everywhere, and we know it. And yeah, Ferguson Factor.
Yeah. Illuvium Arena live. It's the PvP on the Battle Arena. It went live. So what did you guys? I think you've been playing that a bit there, Suze. What's your thoughts on that?
It is super fun. There's a lot of strategy goes into it. There's a lot more than meets the eye. I think a lot of people think, how can it be very difficult or different from game to game if you're just placing these characters around, the chessboard, if you will. But you can have the exact same team as someone else, but it can be played in so many different ways. There's a lot of strategy that goes into it, and that there's still a lot for me to learn. But once I finally started to understand like what the different characters did and what how to place them and all that stuff, it started to become like really fun. So I started climbing the leaderboard, and it's definitely something that once you start to get the hang of it, then it becomes a lot more fun. It kind of does have a steep learning curve at first. You get your ass kicked the first few times, and then you're like, okay, I gotta really start reading into like what these things do. And once you do that, then you're like, you get this aha moment, or at least I did, and it's really good. And once you see that like the team puts in a lot of time and effort to like balance these things out. There were a few team builds that were being exploited early on that were like, okay, this really needs to be nerfed, and they listened and they got things figured out. So right now there's at least like 7 teams that you could say are kind of like the meta right now, which is pretty good considering. You don't want to see it be like 1 or 2 teams that are the only ones that you can win with. So yeah, I really like it.
Yeah, I've played a bit of it. I'm going to have to hook up with you, DCS, because you're going to have to teach me. I haven't won one yet and keep getting my ass kicked. But
yeah, I've been thinking I might do like a streaming session or something, and because I've had a lot of people ask me the same thing, so I think it might be useful to stream a little bit and have people be able to like ask questions live type thing.
Definitely.
When you do that, let me know.
Yeah.
All right,
I watched the Scoriox recent interview with Kieran, and Kieran said that it's clear that they need to have a tutorial. That tutorial, like, because you're watching it and you're like, you don't understand why your dudes are winning or losing, even if you do win. So I've won a few games, but I have no idea why, and I'm not getting that payoff feeling. Like I'm not getting that payoff. I'm not getting that payoff feeling, like going, I made this decision, and it had this effect. Wow, I win. Like that's what gamers game for. They want to feel that their decision in these type of games, their decisions won them the game, and they can get that that payoff moment for it.
And that's exactly like the aha thing that like once I started to understand what each one did and where I placed them matters and things like that, that's when I was like, okay, now I understand how I lost that game. And I was like, okay, I feel like an idiot now. Like now I feel like it was my fault that I lost that game instead of me not understanding the game lost me the game, So that's where it kind of kicks in and you realize, okay, this is how I want to play it next time. This is how I would play against this type of build if I'm playing that type of person or that type of team, right? So,
I used to do Clash of Clans breakdown videos. This was my first YouTube channel I ever did. I had a bit of a hissy fit and deleted every single one. I can't find the files to upload them anymore. But that was what I used to do. I used to watch my team's video attacks and then replay and talk about what they did right and wrong. And they used to love it because they will grow and learn what they did wrong. And you'll see them over time start to make those right decisions. And I think that's what Illuvium needs. They need those people to stream and create content about breakdowns of what went right, what went wrong. I know the rules, but I don't understand everything yet. And so that's why I don't play the game, because
so a couple of people to follow for sure. I'm going to shout them out real quick. Viper for sure. Viper ILV. Also Zeptile, definitely Gimberino, definitely. There's like Phantom ILV as well, and Comedian. These guys are the ones paving the way for us. S-Judd as well from the Xborg organization. These guys are like theory crafters. They'll put together these teams and theorize about like what their potential is or what their downfalls are, and you can use that to figure out how you want to build your team and stuff like that. These are the guys that I've been following to really like build my skills in that area.
Awesome. Anyway, Illuvium, exciting game. Once they get it all put together, I'm sure they're going to have success. Moving on, though, one of my favorite games is up in the top 10 of coming out is Ember Sword Ultra Deep. It's the Ultra Deep. Sorry, they had Ember Sword, but they had the Ultra Deep playtest, which was the first raid boss. I only had time to play it at my Australian nighttime, which all you Americans are sleeping, so I literally had no one to play with. And I beat the first boss, I think, or got to the first boss and couldn't beat him because I didn't have anyone to help me. And I'm garbage at computer games. What did you guys think of that?
I
didn't even get a chance to play it. It was only open for 1 day, or I think, and 2 days maybe. And I didn't even get a chance to play it at all. I played the previous beta that they had. Super fun. But yeah, it's definitely one of those games that's in my wheelhouse for sure.
It showed me that it's going to be a great game. That's what I took away from it. Like when I played the other game, the other version of it, it was pretty buggy and it was just like a bit boring, like a bit run around, kill this little thing out. But this was like you could see strategy involved in, using the abilities really mattered, and it's going to be hard, and there's going to be strategy to the game. So yeah, I'm really excited for it. Put it back into the top 10 for me. Showed me that it's going to be a real superstar game.
Nice.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I was like, okay, I'm glad I actually have a settlement there. So,
oh yeah, I bought some more. That's the first time I invested a fair bit of money in a game before it came out in a long time. It was I bought some 4 blocks of land, and I actually won a piece of land from I put a gleam, those immutable gleam competitions. I did it, and
yeah,
I've done it. I won a land. Yes, I first of all won something.
Nice.
So I've got 6 blocks of land now. And yeah, looking forward to that game. It won't be out to 2026, I don't reckon. MMOs take a while. Ubisoft partnership. That was a big wow. Like again, like a missed opportunity for Immutable. Announcing very vague. Like it's amazing. Yeah, great. Especially if they're building Assassin's Creeds online and it's going to be on Immutable. Yeah, like that would be, but we don't know. And it's again, Immutable leaving people thinking pure announcements, like it's a missed opportunity. I think they should have announced the Ubisoft partnership when they've got a game to show highlight and it's got 6 months to come out.
Yeah.
But probably using it for marketing clout as well when they go in. And by the way, Ubisoft is choosing us, which is a so damned if you do, damned if you don't.
It's one of those things also that like they announced it and then right on the heels of it, Ubisoft dropped their Champions Arena or whatever. Like they announced it and then said that they were going to have a mint that had nothing to do with Immutable, which left people wondering like what, when, where, what, like how is this going to work? So yeah,
giving them doubt.
Yeah, exactly. It leaves room for speculation.
Yeah, but we know that the Immutable. Robbie said that this partnership's been in the works for a long time. The game's has been being built for a while.
And we could see just like the Polygon. Everyone was disappointed about the Polygon, and then 8 to 10 months later, we find out why they made that partnership and what's going to happen. The same thing could happen with Ubisoft here.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, they always say like, the number of well-funded games or whatever, and then how many are building in stealth. Like there's something that Rubik said earlier about these studios and stuff, and they don't make announcements until about 6 months ahead, right? And it's like one of those things that you got to kind of keep in the back of your mind, that they made this announcement that nothing really like materialized out of it, or nothing tangible that you could put your finger on right now, but down the road here, once ZK EVM's out, you don't be surprised when they come out and say, aha, here we are. So keep your eyes open.
Yep, I agree.
100%.
Not to go into this too long, but Block Lords, we've talked about it already, but they had that really cool graphic cinematic, AAA quality cinematic come out for their Slay the Bear campaign. I also liked their first cinematic. It wasn't as good quality, but with the helmet half smashed off, that. So they're pretty good at that side of it. They're pretty good at marketing old Block Lords. Let's see if they can build a great game. Moving on. Passport ZKU deep dive by Peter Robinson. Was that right? His name? Have I butchered his name? WT?
Yeah. High nerd magic
Peter
stuff.
Robinson?
Very, very high nerd magic stuff.
Yeah, Peter. It was the first real look at Immutable and Passport and deep diving. It was really good from a non-technical point of view, even though Peter's like a real technical guy. Does anyone else have any comments on that before I go into it a bit more? No. Just ultimately the benefits of ZK EVM. It showed us, how ZK EVM is going to be used, the benefits of it, and the benefits of Passport, and how the security. Lots of focus on security talk. Every time we hear about Immutable talk about a technology, the first focus is security. When you see a lot of these chains and games choose chains that aren't that great at security, 6 million, 600 million, and other chains like Arbitrum building and optimistic rollups on Optimism that doesn't have fraud proofs. They're not that, we'll get to it later, sort of thing. Solana, the founder saying we don't care about security, we only care about throughput, capability of TVL and things like that. So Immutable is always focused on security, and that's and just why I love gaming on Immutable. I know my stuff's safe.
I confirmed it. It is Peter Robinson too.
Yeah. Moving on, December. This is the last month, and we're only about 3 hours into our podcast that was supposed to go for an hour. Sorry. If anyone's still here listening again, our normal joke, it was 5 games announced plus 1, because there's this rumor. Lumiterra, it's on Arbitrum at the moment, but they look like they announced that they're coming to Immutable ZK EVM. One that I really like is actually 2 that I like, Xverse and Dark Frontiers were announced this month. Xverse, they are building like a UGC style AAA Unreal Engine. There's like different game modes within the game, big metaverse, like real pretty colors. I just love the feel of it. It was a real surprise. I never heard it before. It doesn't look like they've announced a chain before, and they're releasing soon. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there with them. Bad Mad Robots that used to be called Drunk Robots. So these 3 with similar looking graphics. Dark Frontier as well. Dark Frontier, I'll go into them first. They were open world Destiny style game, Unreal Engine game. They're on B&B at the moment, but they're coming over to Immutable. Bad Mad Robots had real unique graphics. They were rebranded from Drunk Robots because of the troubles they had with advertising and legislation and having drunk in their name. And Fuse hasn't been announced by Immutable, but they keep on tagging Immutable, and we've talked about them on our pod before, and they're another shooter, third-person shooter. But then also Storm Warfare, they have not announced Immutable, they have not announced any chain, but they did announce that they are building on a ZK EVM Polygon chain. So it's either OKX's new chain, it's either Astar, which is a Japanese company, or Immutable. But someone said something about Passport once, and they kind of like hinted at they're going to be using something like Passport. So I'm pretty sure those 2 chains don't have Passport. So that's the
is Dark Frontier also on that subject. Don't they have something kind of unique or kind of cool too, where like their entire world is like destructible too? Like
that's Dark Machine.
Dark Machine.
Yeah. But Dark Frontier, similar game. It looks similar, but it's you get different spacesuits to go into different biomes. So you don't have the same space suit to be able to go into all the zones, and so there's birding 1v1 or 10v10, open world PvE, with one of the largest maps ever made in gaming. So it's a pretty big budget game.
Interesting.
Yeah. Dark Machine, I think we haven't announced them, but this is when they came out this month. Why you're getting confused is that they came out this month or last month with actual finally starting marketing and starting
the footage. Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, they announced it back when we said, but they just said, "Hey, we're building this game. We need to tell us anything about the game." And then now they've got actual footage of them destroying the land, which is great. Yeah. Does anyone have anything else to add about the games?
Batman Robots, man, looks good. I like Batman Robots just for the look and the feel of it, from what I could see, but hardly any information to make a very intelligent diagnosis of it. And they got some questionable things about their token that they released, Metal. But out of all of them, I don't know. I was really drawn to Batman Robots, even with the limited information. And Storm Warfare, that looks very polished. I hope they come to Immutable. It's another TCG. I'm not into TCGs, but like their NFTs were pretty sick looking. I've liked what I've seen from them, and their video content makers are top notch.
Yeah, good.
And my personal favorites on that list is Xverse and Dark Frontier. Xverse's trailer that came out was just, it sort of blew my mind. It's so clean, like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's who I like on that list.
Robbie seemed thoroughly, happy with Xverse as well. So definitely interested to see that.
So you can create games, in Unreal Engine 5 quality graphics. Not like Sandbox where you go and create crappy little Minecraft style graphics. Actual AAA quality graphics game content inside of Xverse. That's what the goal is for them. I'm not sure if that's coming out live when they go live soon, but that's player generated content is what is like a Roblox. That's what's so exciting about it.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I definitely agree with you on
Almost
that one.
like Unreal Engine Fortnite, instead of like creating maps and things like that, you have content creator within the game.
Yeah. Yeah, and Storm Warfare would be great too because they are like they don't need Ronin to sell their game. They've got 14,000 players on their own with their own marketing without saying, "Hey, we're building on this chain." So, well, that's what I think's the future, and the big games will win. The ones that are able to market themselves, not because of the chain they're on. So hopefully they do end up building on Immutable because their animations are awesome as well, and they've got a huge audience already just for a playtest.
Yeah.
But yes, this was a great month to end off with these 5 games, or 4 games especially. Storm Warfare, Exaverse, and Dark Frontier were really good games to end off the year off with. But the rest of the month wasn't empty as well. It had some huge partnerships to end the year with. So Merit Circle Beam partnership. What do you guys think of that?
Absolutely huge.
Yeah. There's not much to say about it. It's that they're networking, collabs, bringing everybody into one circle to push towards that Web 2 market share, which should be the ultimate goal for everybody. But for some reason, it's taken the adults in the room, Immutable, to bring people together and push for it.
Yeah. One takeaway is that, like, Sorrow wrote a post saying that that Merit Circle's coming over, migrating to ZK EVM app chains. So right now they're building a subnet on AVAX, and Devin Ferreira, the former AVAX marketing manager who left AVAX to go to Immutable, and then within 6 months has left, either fired or left Immutable, was criticized that and said that's not what they said. They said it was dual on the two, and then I went back to check it again and to make sure, see what the outcome was, and it's deleted by the looks of it. So by Sorrow, which deleted the comment from Ferreira as well. So it'd be and the two angles of both Robbie and I think it was Marco who was talking. Marco's very careful not to say that they're leaving AVAX and and to commit to building on ZK EVM, like actual games launching. But Robbie mentioned dual business development, just like Polygon and Immutable don't compete anymore. This is about. So I think that Marco doesn't want to piss off AVAX, but they come into Immutable's app chains, and then in the future, when that's live, they will build on Immutable ZK EVM rather than AVAX. But then also the tools to use both, and maybe give games the choice in the end. But how does that work with dual BD? So it's quite complicated relationship, to be honest with you. Be interesting to see how it turns out. What do people think about that?
Yeah, I mean, really though, I think like the Merit Circle thing is a gamer driven ecosystem, right? So they want to give the opportunity to give the choice to the players, right?
Yeah.
And I think that as long as the interop and the ability to go back and forth exists, which I think is bigger than either one singularly, right? I think that is better for the ecosystem in general, right? Being able to build with one or the other or both or whatever, there's a lot more room to grow there. Whereas if you kind of pigeonhole yourself into one direction and it doesn't end up being the correct one, then you're screwed.
Yeah. And also, they said, actually, Marco said that. He goes, we just want to be involved with the games, where the games are. So that's another highlight that I've got this theory that we end up in a Apple / Google kind of scenario with Web3 gaming. There'll be two chains.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. Like they are, like I said, it's a gamers ecosystem. There's a bunch of gamers there. Wherever the games are is where they're gonna go. It doesn't matter, right? Like it doesn't matter where it is. They are agnostic in that whole in that view, right?
Yeah.
Whoever builds whatever games, wherever they are, that's where the gamers will go. It doesn't matter. Like, so as long as you have, you're a vessel, like you're just bringing them there. So if that vessel is on AVAX or if it's on Immutable, it shouldn't matter, right? It's just a partnership to garner or to cater to the gamers, the actual people, the end user.
It's the same business model as Amazon. If you get big enough and you suck all the traffic to you, people are going to go there because that's where you go to shop. It's the same business model.
Exactly. And like to see Amazon partner or whatever with Gods Unchained, right? It doesn't mean that like, okay, Immutable's doing everything or Gods Unchained's doing everything right or whatever. It's literally Amazon is just saying, hey, we see a lot of people playing this game. We might as well take a piece of the pie, and we already have a bunch of subscribing users that are gamers. So they did the same thing with Mojo Melee, right?
Mhm.
And that's and that's a completely different chain, right? So it doesn't matter to them. They're agnostic. They're just being a vessel to like say, hey, our gamers, we need to reward you for staying with us. So here's another game. This is how you access it. Here's your stuff. Connect your account. Boom. Here's some assets.
Yep.
Yep. I agree with that 100%. And just the complexity of where the games end up building on Beam, when they build on Beam, is the choice. They are building a ZK EVM app chain. I'm certain of that. And they have got an AVAX subnet. So that this announcement was about that, what you're coming from, D'Souza. But there's also that complexity that I say that when do they try to build games on their chains? Like, because they just announced Forgotten Playgrounds game. That'll be on AVAX subnet. When will they choose to put it on EVM, and how will that dynamic will work? Will be very interesting to see how it plays out.
That goes without saying. It'll be a kind of an inflection point of when they have to make a decision, or either they already may be building certain aspects of it on AVAX right now, and it's just, they realize that shit, it's going to take us longer. So what do? They have to do something that keeps these gamers happy, that it can kind of bridge the gap. What do? You go and you partner with someone like Immutable that's already got a whole shit ton of stuff building.
Yeah, and Sphere, the major thing that the Sphere marketplace is going to be on Immutable, like as in it'll cater to all their chains that they were on. Like you'll be able to transact NFTs for their subnet, for AVAX, as well as Immutable and Immutable ZK EVM, as well as their.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Cool. Anyone else got anything to add on that? Because that is a big one, and we do spend a bit of time on it, but it was definitely worth going into. Moving on, Transact. This is a pretty big partnership. 70 countries now. 160 when they announced. It's 170 now countries that can utilize this service of on board. But so many factors that they bring to the play. It's about the checkout process. It's about purchasing, finances, DEX sort of thing, but not the DEX. The actual tools of actually onboarding and offboarding fiat into the crypto and out of the crypto, kind of like what MoonPay does now, but way more features by the sounds of it. What do you guys think of this one?
I think it's huge, massive.
Yeah, so they were actually built into what was the other marketplace that announced that they like were ceasing?
MoonPay.
Aqua. Okay, so they were built into Aqua as well, and it was one of the only things that actually made me use Aqua. Was that you could use like Apple Pay, you could use freaking your credit card. It didn't matter. It was seamless, and it went straight to your wallet. All that stuff, right? Because that was the only thing that made me use Aqua. Because otherwise, Aqua was hot garbage. Okay, their UI sucked, and like you couldn't I couldn't tell which chain certain games were on at certain times. And it was just hot garbage. But I liked that service. So announcing that partnership overall with Immutable, agnostic to which marketplace it was on, is huge.
Yeah, it just goes to show like the Immutable's dedication to tap into that mainstream gamers right there, like, because gamers don't want to come on. If they get an NFT, I can make money off this. Like, do I have to set up a fucking wallet to offload this? You can do it through the Passport and then this Transact partnership, which will help convert the fiat like to a sense. Am I right in saying that?
It's
That's
it
the way I'm
streamlines
looking at it.
everything. It streamlines
Yeah.
everything. You don't have to worry about like what coin and what freaking anything. Like, just I want I want to play this game, and this is something I want that's in the game. Let me get it. Like, and especially in a case where there is no DEX to actually trade these tokens, right? So it's like, hey, it's only being sold in, this specific currency. I don't have that currency currently, and I don't have a place to swap the currencies that I have. So how the hell am I going to get it? This is how, right? And
Yep.
most normie gamers aren't going to know how to do the whole DEX thing anyway when it comes. So why even mess with it? So this is like, do something they already know. They already know how to use Apple Pay. They already know how to use all these other things, to use their credit card or their debit card, right? Just keep it simple.
Like, and then it's just sort of feels like all the puzzle pieces are falling into place. Like the gaslessness, this Transec, it's for the mainstream gamers to come on and just enjoy the games, because that's all they should have to do, or that's all any gamer should have to come on and enjoy the game, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Yeah, you're spot on, mate. That this is designed for the normies because of the fiat off and fiat on as well. Like, we always had fiat on with MoonPay. It wasn't great MoonPay, but it got the job done a bit. But this Transact, if it's simpler, if it's more smooth, and you can take out to your bank account as well, which is what it's claiming you can do. Like, that's the end. The normies don't need to look at anything else. They don't even know they're on blockchain. They go on and they go, here's an NFT in the game marketplace from within the game, because the SDKs that Immutable are building. You go and WAGMI, they click on the marketplace, you say buy this NFT for $2, then you go into their marketplace and say sell this NFT for $5, and you use a credit card to buy it for $2, and then you sell it for $5, and then it says you've got $5, and you hit a button to take it out to your bank account. You don't even know you're on a blockchain, mate. This is what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
This is what people don't understand, why Immutable is going to win. They're the first for years to have this kind of setup. No one will have anything like this. Nowhere near it.
Here's the other piece of it too. You guys all made excellent points there. Immutable is building a monster, and what they really focus on for themselves, just Immutable itself, is being a game publisher and a platform to bring mass amounts of volume, collab with all these different network partnerships in one single place. And the things that they don't want to handle or cannot handle, they're going and getting qualified third parties like Transact to handle it. They don't want to handle the payment processing portion of it.
Exactly.
They want to focus on the other things. So they're going to go out and get the studs to handle the pieces that they don't have the time or resources to deal with. And they're creating a monster by doing this.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's a whole like regulatory like headache of trying to own all the pieces of the pie, right? Yep. So why? And then also there's the angle of why reinvent the wheel when there's already a company doing it really well.
Amen.
Okay, so there's no reason to make it more complicated on themselves or for themselves. Right. So just go ahead and say, hey, these guys are already doing it well. They have all the hooks in place to make it happen. Let's just go ahead and partner with them. And that's another testament to their business development team, Soro and all those guys, going out there and seeing what works and how they can make it better for their customers.
Yeah. And then other games, chains can follow Immutable's lead and take these partnerships as well. Like, I think was it Animoca Brands that took on this trend, or was it Polygon? After this announcement, they announced it as well. So, but that doesn't mean, like, if you're doing it that way, you're going, oh, they're doing a good idea, let's do that as well. It's not like it's Immutable's building it as a jigsaw puzzle, putting the puzzle together, and this part is the part they're doing. They're not going.
Animoca and Yatsu and those guys, they're always all over freaking Immutable's jock. They're quote unquote partners, but I think that like there's like a little brother big brother syndrome here to them. Because of the way that they totally freaking botched the whole ApeCoin thing and everything like that. They've done so much for the ecosystem, but they've done a lot of damage as well at the same time.
Mm.
So
they-
I think that there's still like personally I have some animosity towards them because like there's all of these like ApeCoin DAO proposals that just are nonsense that get approved, but then you have really good ones that were going to help like gaming in the ecosystem and everything, and they get turned down because why? Because apes don't read though, right? and that's the thing, they don't fucking read the details in what's being proposed. And there was I don't know, I could go on about it forever, but you know, like that's like
dude.
that's one of those things, you know.
We've been
So-
going for 3 hours anyway.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, you know. Like it's like I said, I kind of see it as a big brother little brother relationship, and I think that in reality, Animatica is the big brother, but they get pissed when Immutable comes out on top.
Yeah, and I don't have animosity, but I've noticed it's weird. Like they claim to be part owners of Immutable because they've invested in them. You see Animoca Brands next to Shima Capital and all the other ones, yeah.
Yeah.
And when they do their blog posts, they have Immutables that result. But show me any single thing they've ever done that's they're driving that's benefit Immutable.
Zero. Absolutely
There's
zero.
Literally zero. Like every single, like that Yatsui thing that just came out 2 days ago, or that I commented on and said that you don't know what you're talking about, you know, as if I know more than him. Anyway, you look at every single talking point he had was all these. There was nothing about Immutable, nothing about the games that they've invested in that's on Immutable. Everything about the games that they've invested in, and the ones that Immutable have won, they've won it first, and
Outright.
then Animoca Brand,
Outright on their own.
and then Animoca comes in and invests in them later.
Yeah, exactly.
It's weird. It's super weird, and especially considering that Animoca Brands was listed on the Australian Stock Exchange and had a lot to do with Australia in the first place as well.
Oh, and
Pretty
they're
sure
huge, right? They have a lot to do with like the music industry. They have a lot to do with like films and things like that. They have deals with like Eminem and all sorts of stuff. Like
Yeah. You watch.
they're
When
a
the-
freaking
when it-
juggernaut.
Yeah, they delisted from the Australian Stock Exchange and then went to Hong Kong, and now they're based in Hong Kong. But you watch, mate. When Immutable wins, you watch it, mate. You watch our partners, Immutable, are the leaders, blah blah blah, and they're going to ride the coattails and claim credibility. When they haven't done anything to help Immutable that I've seen. Maybe we're wrong. We don't know
I was
everything.
Part of the
Maybe
group
we're
that
wrong.
like brought ApeCoin onto Immutable, like so that we could do these freaking these ApeCoin DAO like proposals and like help some of these games out with supposed investors that wanted to help gaming. And then like we put up this proposal, right? And then like we sent this proposal and then they voted against it, and we had a space to figure out like, hey, some of the big, you know, major voters that like the lead person that was heading over all the proposal, we had him on to ask him, hey, how come you didn't think this game was good enough? And he's going on about like where he thinks the space is going and all this stuff. And I went up and I raised my hand and I asked him, did you go on and play the game? And he's like, no, I didn't. I'm like, so okay, hold on. You're telling me that at the very top there's a link and it goes to a web browser based game that was 100% playable. You didn't even fucking play the game? And everyone was kind of in shock, right? That I actually cursed at this guy. But I was like, you didn't even fucking play it? And he's like, no. I'm like, hold on. Tell me this. How are you going to vote no on something that you didn't even fucking play or try to even look into? And like,
Yeah.
I was so pissed at him because like, that's the reality. These guys aren't in it for the games. Like, they literally
Yep.
don't read the proposal. And that's where the term came from at that time. I was like, apes don't read though, right? Like, because like they're all into ApeCoin and they're all freaking pissed that the coin was going down and it wasn't doing what they wanted to do. So they were going to vote no on anything that had an outside opinion.
Yeah. Anyway, a lot of airtime for a subject matter that wasn't in the news, so let's move on. Unless someone's got something else to add to it.
No.
No, I think you covered all bases there.
Oh, you know what I'm liking about that is that I'm not the only angry guy on the pod anymore. That's
No,
you know,
it's interesting.
Oh, you
Isn't that
haven't-
great?
It's interesting.
You
It's an
haven't warmed up
interesting
to me yet.
perspective to hear, and it's outside of Immutable, so I'm enjoying hearing it. So good stuff.
No, I'm not. If I was angry at anyone for being angry about something, I'd be a bit of a hypocrite, wouldn't I? So I'm actually loving it.
It makes me angry because I'm passionate about Immutable, and I think it was
Yeah.
something. It was one of the very first playable games at the time during the bear market that could have thrived, and they shot it down, right? And that's one of the things that like could have gotten actually a lot of people turned on to Immutable a lot sooner. Instead, we have a game called Worlds that doesn't exist anymore, and a lot of people put money into, and there's nothing to show for it now because of these people, right? And that's like the type of stuff we need to avoid going into the future, is like decisions that had to do with Monica brands as well that completely shot something in the leg that was starting to sprint.
They were amazing developers. Via Worlds were like Andrew Friday had an amazing team. They were shipping some quality. Like every week, a new thing come out that you think, how are they getting that done in a week?
Yeah,
You know,
and
like,
there were
that-
bugs.
and-
There were bugs that like we would say something, and like an hour and a half later, they were like, "Hey, are you ready to test it?" I'm like, "Wait, you fixed it?"
Anyway, moving on. That's
Definitely.
Via Worlds is Buy Worlds. So Iris Data is building on Immutable. They're a data provenance layer. Pretty much about keeping data clean and honest. And you know, as anyone that's got a bit technical background, data is key to pretty much code altogether. So it's just another big partnership. Anyone add something to that? We'll move on.
That's a good one too. I like that.
Yeah.
It allows for easy access and clean access to the actual numbers. So that's a big one instead of like making up like
Bot numbers like Ronan.
bot numbers like
Yeah.
connected wallets versus actual users. So that's huge.
Yeah.
Another department that they don't have time to deal with, so they went out and got the pros to do it. That's just how I looked at it.
Yeah. We grazed over this one. We spoke a lot about Guilder Guardians.
Yeah.
That they're going to they announced that they're going to ZK EVM and Passport. We already knew that anyway. So unless
Yeah.
you wanted to add something to you.
No, it was expected, and there's no reason for them not to. So yeah.
And then the big one that we all, well, from D'Souza and I's interview with Stephen Green, we thought this wouldn't come at launch, but the ZK EVM going gasless. So that was huge. One of the biggest things that closed out the loop of the things that they need to succeed was this, I believed, and it's now they've got the complete puzzle filled. They just got to bring it all out and bring it all out cleanly. But gasless gaming is absolutely critical. Again, partly what we've talked about with the things in this month already. Normie gamers don't need to worry about gas. Thoughts, people?
Good.
Yep, like I a bit of it earlier. I think it's awesome. Great.
Yeah, absolutely huge.
It's another puzzle piece, like you said. Slotted right into place.
Seamless experience for the normal gamer, traditional gamer.
Here's the other
You
takeaway.
surprised it?
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, no, you go.
No, it puts pressure on the other chains too. We got gasless. What do you got? You know, it's, if you're going out and saying that, and your gaming devs are paying it for it, and even though it's not that much, they're still paying for it. You're still not charging your customers fees for transactions, and you've got a leg up on everybody.
Yep.
Yeah, and what did you think? Were you surprised, Sue, since we spoke to Steve Green and he said maybe the middle of next year we'll get that, right? Remember he said that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I was definitely surprised to see it coming like right off the bat.
You know, the breakdown that you kind of did of how much, or basically how much they realized they were able to cut down on the gas prices, I think is what convinced them to say that, hey, we're going to do it from from the get-go.
All right. So the other takeaway from it is the cost to the user being zero, but the cost moving to the builder. But the actual cheapness of that is where it's industry leading, I believe. I don't think there'll be anyone that can claim that you could be cheaper to cover gas fees than on Immutables ZK EVM. So we'll see once that comes out, if with good design, if people are doing good design and what those costs are, and compare it to AVAX subnets that can go gasless or scales gasless models. They've got 3 different models you can choose from. Myria, which is like Immutable X clone, not ZK EVM clone, the Immutable X chain clone. But there's not many others that I've heard of that are gas free than those, so we'll see.
And it's going to get cheaper for developers as well, or for games as well to do this, because the updates to Ethereum itself, with like dank sharding and stuff like that, and blobs and stuff like that, it's going to make it even cheaper for L2s as well. So I say like 6 to 8 months down the line into 2024, it'll be even cheaper.
Yeah,
for them to sponsor it.
Yeah, for sure. And as they work out the prover technology and work out as Polygon brings down that cost to prove, will also help the cost, I believe, as well. Anyway, moving on. Passport was released. My God, I did not expect that this year. Did anyone else?
No. Yay.
So it actually got released.
Yeah, I was expecting it to come with the release of ZK EVM, so I was surprised that they just dropped that bomb at the end of the year.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Happy 2023, everyone. We're going to move on because we all spoke about Passport a lot, and we all know how great it is. And when ZK EVM, when more games come out on it, it'll be more exciting. But it's already. You can see that the beta, the form of it, the ease of use that it brings with WAGMI games for starters. Gods Unchained, when mobile comes very soon this month, it'll be on that as well. Blockleak Gulf, when they get the actual cores right on their design, they screwed up with their design. And the Bleacher Report through it, that was a surprise game. So yeah, moving on. Gods Unchained re-added to the Epic Store. We already kind of covered this. That was Immutables work that got the adult only enabled on Epic Games for blockchain only. So that was a big win. Again, crypto Twitter faded the news that it was actually Immutable that got that done for the whole entire industry, and they just reported on how Epic Games had created a new AO for Web3 gaming.
100%. Want to chime in real quick there. They were quick to jump on and say, "Oh, Gods Unchained was removed." In a very quick fashion, the Ferguson factor kicked in, got it back on, and they were real quiet about it.
Yeah. No, they announced it, but they just didn't say that Immutable was the ones that got it done.
Right.
Hit Frame Network, those young rich fellas that got cash to burn, see Immutable as the future of gaming and invested in it. They've done a lot of content. Does anyone want to add to that, or we'll just move on to our final point?
What was it? 200 million? They're going to be putting into Web3, I think. I think they're putting 200 million to Web3, if I'm not mistaken, and they've got like a 1.4 billion valuation in their company. So good stuff.
High frame, right? Yeah. That's a win.
Yeah, big win.
It shows that they believe in it. Other people are seeing it, So
who do you believe is going to be the winning of Web3 gaming? The guys that run a $1.4 billion fund and chose to invest in Immutable, or 10,000 Filipinos dying for their 5 SLP to go to the moon? I don't know, man. You tell me.
I don't know, man. That's a tough question.
Not sure who to believe. Who to know. Yeah. And finally, which is one of the fun points for me, why I do Who IMX News is that we, as Immutable fans, get to hear about how many games you've seen, how many games have won throughout 2023. I'm not sure that's all of them. I was doing a lot of research to put that together for everyone. I hope that was all of them, but if it's not, but to end the year, 25 games from the 1st to the 22nd of December were won by Immutable. Not one of them were announced yet. So 25 more games to be told. So that's on top of the 80 that we didn't know about already. So there's 105 more games being built on Immutable. I've got a list of 130 that we know of, and there's about 105 more to at least they haven't announced yet. So exciting 2024 to come ahead of us.
Yes.
Can I ask them to slow down a bit so I can catch up on the ones that we've got
I
so
know.
far?
I agree.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah. So you do a podcast on Immutable, what's happening on Immutable. If we did a podcast on what's happening on the rest of Web3 gaming, it'd probably be less content. So, anyway, I think that will end our wrap of 2023. Anyone got anything else? The final ad? What was your final thought on 2023?
Did you mention the Van Eck article?
I think I took it out.
I thought...
but yeah, maybe you want to add it in.
Yeah, so it was. They wrote a bullish article about Immutable, and they can see that it's going to be one of the top chains as well. I don't have it in front of me. I just was wondering if you'd want to throw it in there.
Yeah, no, you can add it in. You've just added it in there, mate. It's I actually took a fair bit out because we've gone for what, 3 hours?
Yeah,
we're going on 4. Right? We're going on 4.
Are we? Oh my god, I was supposed to work today. I better put some leave in. And luckily, I've got a flexible workplace that let me do things like that. So, yeah. What's your thoughts on 2023, everyone? Like, I want to hear what your overall thought on 2023. What kind of year did they have? Well, wrap it up. Gonna go, D'Souza.
Yeah, I mean it's been a wild ride for sure. Definitely some ups and downs. All in all, for Immutable, it's been a huge year. I think it's the year where we finally started to take our training wheels off and started to kind of actually ride a little bit faster and test the waters a little bit, like see where it could really actually go to. I think you see that in a lot of the announcements and partnerships and collaborations, and also the projects that decided to build on Immutable. So I think, all in all, it's a win for Immutable. It's a win for the ecosystem in Web3 gaming. And I think it's really just the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Wondering?
Well, I think, like the DC said, it has its ups and downs, but with all the partnerships that they've obtained over the past 12 months, and it's really a testament to Robbie and his team there, and the hard work that they've been putting in to make all this possible. Like the partnerships that they've come out with are transforming the Web3 landscape as a whole. Like, you don't see many other these gaming chains doing half the work. Well, I don't want to say that, but I'm going to say it anyway. They're doing half the work that Robbie, and then their passion. You can see in his interviews, the guy looks drained. He's working. He must be working nonstop, trying to execute. And I'm happy to be along the ride, and I can't wait for 2024 and see what's to come in the future.
What do you think, WT? What's your last one?
I came into 2023 with the expectations that we just need a good game, a really good game. And as I've watched what Immutable has been doing all year and just really focusing on what their strategy was, it kind of opened up my eyes that while a very good game or a groundbreaking game is very important to have, at this time in the space, it's not the end all be all. And the bigger picture is, for the space, what networking are you doing? And to make it in simple terms, the Web3 space, they get their glass, their 16-ounce glass, and they want to go up to the water cooler in the workplace and get their glass of water, and they think that's a win. Immutable is trying to put in place all these collabs, all these partnerships, and all these connections to say, nah, we're not happy with the water cooler in the workplace. We want to go to the Great Lakes above Michigan, tied to Canada, and we want access to that water. We're not going to capture all the water at once, but we want access to that water so we can fill up as many glasses as we can get. And I think that's their mindset versus the Web3 mindset, which is just like, let's stay in our little silos and be happy with our little pumps and dumps. And if we get a good game, cool. If not, we'll just keep pumping and dumping. Whereas Immutable has a completely different strategy from everybody else. That's my takeaway from 2023.
Everyone else is
Yeah.
drinking that Flint, Michigan water, and
It was the biggest body of fresh water I could think of. They're not
Hey,
going to Flint, Michigan.
I really like that point. That's so true. The spruiking of your daily active users, and that being a selling point for you right now. One game on that's coming 20th on Steam is smashing your title right now. So we need one top 20 game, and it blows that narrative out of the water. And I really like that point that you ended on, WT. I'll make mine a bit shorter. 2023 was the year of pure announcements. 2024 will be the year of those pure announcements becoming the reason why Immutable won.
Checkmate.
Amen.
So that's it. I think we'll wrap it up there for the show. Thanks for listening for the 3-4 hours that we did it for. If you were here still, see you all in the next show, which will be a special on our predictions for 2024.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Peace.